For some people, the outdoors is a hobby. For others, it's a lifestyle. Torque wheels are built for the ones who chase sunrise on the water, track game through the timber, and spend weekends towing boats, campers, and ATVs to the next adventure. With a full lineup of wheel sizes and fitments for trucks, SUVs, vans, trailers, and RVs, Torque wheels are made to match your lifestyle and your rig. Wherever you go, whatever you haul, go with confidence. Visit torquewheels.com to find a retailer near you.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Victory Drive Podcast. I am your host, Jacob Johnson, and we have another great episode for you. I have on my friend Tanner Hartman. He works over with Sam Gaylord at Old Barn Taxidermy / G2 Forums, and we had a great conversation, just catching up about what's cooking over at G2 Forums. And then on the back end, we kept it going. He talked about his law enforcement experience from his previous life, and we also got into some like men's mental health awareness stuff, I guess. I thought it was a great conversation. That is one thing I kind of want to rant on just a little bit. I know this is a little bit of a longer episode, so I'm not trying to keep this intro super long or nothing like that, but men's mental health is a very interesting topic. It's hard to talk about. Men aren't very good at explaining their thoughts and feelings and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if we did a great job explaining it in this episode, or maybe we did. I think Tanner did a good job explaining his side of things. But it's just one of those things that it's different. Men and women are different, and men, when it comes to talking about their feelings and all that shit, it usually does not come out right. So generally, men like to bottle things up and let things try to make things just go away by self-medicating or other various ways. Maybe just try to ignore the problem and hope it just goes away eventually. But that's one thing that's a bit of a stigma that we have to maybe get past at some point here. I know, like back in the early days, a while ago, men would just, that's kind of a common maybe joke or something like that men would just bottle things up and just like, don't cry, you're a bitch, and all that kind of stuff. And but I also think men years ago, I'm not entirely 100% sure, but it's just things were a lot different back then. You had more of a community. Things were a little bit different. Times are changing, and it's just we have to kind of adapt and change with it. So basically what I'm saying here in this intro is, if you're a man, you're going through some shit, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. Talk about things, talk to someone you trust. I'm not saying you have to go on fucking Instagram or TikTok and start crying in the camera about your feelings, because I don't think any man wants to do that. But find someone that you trust, and find a friend, find a bro, go out, have some fun, and get your issues out there, and don't let them get too big where they can start controlling you instead of you controlling them. So that's kind of what it boils down to. I just want you guys out there being safe, having fun, enjoying your life, because life is beautiful. There's a lot to look forward to. Find a church, find a community, pray often. And, I think that stuff kind of helps a lot. So if you're struggling out there, just go ahead and, find something. Do something. Life is worth living. It's beautiful. It's beautiful out there, even though it doesn't seem beautiful all the time. So you might be in some dark places, and just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get there with some help. So anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Before we get out of here, we do have to cover a few things, Grizzly Coolers being one of them. So if you guys are interested in a really nice cooler for the summertime, check out grizzlycoolers.com. Use code WCB to save some money at checkout and help support the show. There's also Toro Tactical. You guys are interested in any cool gear? Check out Toro Tactical. They got a lot of cool shit on there. And it's a webinar service, so it's kind of different than, just going and buying a gun or buying gear. You buy a seat at the table for a webinar, the virtual table, and you buy the seat. You learn a little bit about that said gear, and then you also get a chance to win the item that they are talking about that day. So check out Toro Tactical. Use code WCB to save 10% on your entire order. That's 10% on your entire order. You could buy one seat, you could buy 10 seats, and you'll save 10% on that entire order. And that's about it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Hopefully we did at least a decent job explaining all that stuff. But either way, it was a great episode with Tanner Hartman. Hope you guys enjoy. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
Hi.
All right. Yeah, the trailer's getting updates. Realized that we went to Idaho a while back to record with Charlie Cox, and then we went through Spearfish and recorded with Rolling Bones Outdoors and the damn Buck Boys.
Buckstorm.
There
Yeah,
we go.
the
I'm
Buck
such an
Boys.
idiot. I got nervous for a second there. I'm like, fuck. I started struggling on Rolling Bones, and it fucked me up.
Yeah.
Fucked me all up. But yeah, so we recorded Buckstorm and Rolling Bones in South Dakota. So we did like that whole trip out there, and the AC was not keeping up. Well, it was keeping up, but it's like so loud that we couldn't run in the AC while we're recording because it sounded like a torpedo, dude.
Oh.
Like a jet engine going on.
Yeah.
So took it in, and we're getting a new AC and heating unit.
Gotcha.
Put it in the trailer because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey.
And we're dying of heat stroke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we bought these little tower fans and stuff, and like Charlie and I were doing all right. Like we're like, oh, we're doing fine. It's hot, but like we're fine. But then Ashley wasn't getting any of the heat, the airflow because it's pointing towards us, away from her. So she's just sitting back there like, just dying. So decided to go, and it's gonna be like $2,000. But I'm like, fuck, dude.
You either have no podcast with audio, or you end the podcast because you all die of heat stroke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I figured $2,000 is a lot of money, but it's like we need to be able to use it.
Yeah.
Like I can't just have a podcast trailer that I only use in March and April, and then like October, November.
Yeah.
Because outside of those 4 months, it's either too hot or too cold.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we just can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't buy this trailer and only use it for 3, maybe 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
How's that thing going to pull in the snow? I've never driven one that big in the snow.
It's really not bad.
Yeah.
We took it down to Iowa for gun season. We didn't record it then because we pulled it there to Southern Iowa, hunted down in Southern Iowa for Iowa gun season. Then we left and went to Kansas. It was a lot warmer in Kansas at night. It got a little cool, but it's easier to podcast when it's a little bit cool rather than like scorching hot.
Yeah.
So it got kind of cool in there, but we recorded all the episodes in the trailer down in Kansas, and it was great. But like getting through Missouri was kind of a pain in the ass because they don't like to use, like, I don't know if they don't salt the roads or what they do, but the gravel roads in Missouri, it was just ice. And I'm like, oh no, dude.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's fine.
We went down through Missouri going to Arkansas for our vacation this summer. I don't know. They know how to drive in Missouri. They have that trouble too.
I don't know if they do.
No,
I don't know what it is about Missouri, dude.
We ain't recording right now. I'm going to offend Missouri.
No, it's
Missouri
fine.
Drivers. Yeah.
I talked so much shit. Like after Ashley and I got back from Kansas, I talked so much shit about Missouri's roads. Like in the winter, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like it was literally, we took a right out of so we were hunting like pretty much right on the border of Missouri in southern Iowa, and we turned to leave the camp. Like, all right, see you there, boys. We're heading to Kansas. Yeah. We turned and started. Like the second that we hit Missouri, it was just ice. Like, how are the gravel roads so much better in Iowa and not Missouri? It's basically the same area. Yeah. We're in basically the same area. We had the same weather. Yeah. And they were just significantly worse, like 10x worse. Yeah. It was sketchy.
There's some sheer drop-offs on the country roads too. Some of them are paved, but they're like, they literally go pavement and it's like 8-10 inches of asphalt straight down to the ditch. Mm-hmm. And it's like you could see where guys are going around like with trailers and stuff. They're dragging their trailers, the axles and stuff like that, because they got big gouges in the asphalt on those drop-offs and stuff.
It's rough.
That would tear up a trailer.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what it is about Missouri, but their road system is not the best.
Yeah.
Missouri County roads. Don't go on them in the winter. Just don't.
All right. Avoiding.
Yeah. But anyways, Tanner.
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm back.
It's been a while. Like, what, a year? 2?
It's been 2 years.
2 years, hasn't it?
Yep.
Since we had you on.
Yep.
It was a while.
It was 2023, I believe.
Yeah, and that was in the old house.
Yep.
In the old studio. That was when before the trailer and before we moved here.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Cool.
Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back, dude. This is cool.
Yeah. So how's it been going? How's everything at G2 going and everything else? Like,
it is busy. We're year 4, I think so. Year 4, and it's we've doubled in space, production space. We have doubled in staff. Actually, almost tripled in staff. I think we're up to 7 personnel right now, doing some working in some sort of capacity with the. We're not just. We used to have. Certain personnel stepping out, going to Old Barn, and then coming over to G2 to help out. Now it's more like 7 people having full-time responsibilities inside the shop, whether it's shipping and receiving or the production or maintenance or something like that. So
nice.
Some of them positions kind of cross over a little bit at times, but
no, small businesses, that's bound to happen.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you got to cover as many bases as you possibly can. Maintenance is probably one of the big things.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got their main, maintenance comes, maybe sometimes once a month or every 6 months. And so we got to really be up on that too. Because not everybody's touching those things every day. So.
Right. But, I think last time you were here, were you the only one or one of the only one working at G2, like actually making the forms and stuff? I can't remember.
I think we had a guy helping us out, but we kind of overshot the numbers a little bit. And he ended up going back to his previous job, which we can get into that here just in a minute, because he's actually back with us. Oh, nice. So he started with us, really got things ramped up to where we understood, what we needed to produce, which was, we were actually overproducing a little bit, which was okay. Mm-hmm. And he went back to that job, sales kind of dipped. So it was kind of like a really nice curve. We had the pieces built to sell, and so it kind of trickled down to a point where the inventory got low, but then the numbers started climbing for sales, and so we needed to bring in another guy, which is where Tate came in. So he's been the one there for the second longest after me, and then like I said, Wes was there for a little bit, and then he came back and he's helping us right now.
Nice.
So happy to have him back. He's a good guy, really hard worker, and he's a good guy to be around.
Good.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. So like, I mean, obviously it's been kind of exploding lately. So.
Yes. The numbers are just, I mean, it is minimum 50% growth every year for the last 4 years. It's been pretty eye-opening. When I first started this, the whole taxidermy thing, I didn't know what the numbers looked like. Mm-hmm. Taxidermy was a thing, but like what does that look like, that business? And then I was shown the numbers, and now I'm physically seeing the numbers, the industry numbers, and then the actual numbers in front of us for the sales. And it was like, oh, this is kind of a serious deal. And so I'm happy that it is, because it keeps me busy, and I make dang good money doing it. And I work with I mean, we're working in taxidermy. Like I'm seeing the animals that I pursue, you know, come in, people that I know too. That's even the better thing about the whole deal is it's not only my hobbies, but it's my buddies' hobbies too. It's kind of like a full circle thing. Like my buddies hunt too, and so they all bring their stuff back around. So it's like, hey, I'm bringing a buck in. You know, I don't have to leave work. I just can like, hey, I'm gonna be there at 10. I go rolling up there and see the buck or whatever, whatever it is, and it's like I get to celebrate that with them at my work. How cool is that?
That's pretty awesome. That's the thing. So because G2 Taxidermy Supply, it's just forms, right? Well, forms and like some.
Well, we started off with forms at first, and then we broke over into the habitat side of things.
Okay.
So we ended up purchasing a habitat company. It's like when I say habitat, it's like driftwood and rocks and various things like that. Rocks that can go on a tabletop, also can be hung on a wall. Same with driftwood. A lot of it is like duck taxidermy and turkey taxidermy type stuff. So that is kind of nice to add on to what we're already using is that 2-part polyurethane foam to make these parts. So we're casting the molds off a master, creating the negative or the mold itself, and then we build those in house too, which is kind of cool. We can mess with all that now and understand that's pretty cool. But then we put that 2-part polyurethane foam in it, and it's a blank. It's not painted because we have to paint it yet, but it looks like a piece of driftwood or a rock or a stump or something like that. And there's a lot of need for that. Our sales are really awesome in that as well. So that keeps us also busy. That's what helped. That's what made us have to double personnel too, was the business of that side too. And it's drawn that portion has drawn the attention because we bought a reputable habitat company. And so they had their name, we had our name. Joining them together, they're both feeding off each other. The business from the habitat side, we're seeing growth in sales on the form side and vice versa. So it's kind of cool.
It makes sense too. It's like, why not, if you're going to be buying, like if you're a taxidermist, like just an at-home taxidermist or you have your own taxidermist studio and you're buying stuff, it's like, it's a lot simpler just to go to one place, like a one-stop shop, buy your habitat stuff, buy your form, and do it all. Pay one bill. You know, you're not like, oh, I owe Mackenzie, $684 here, then I owe G2 fucking, $300 over there, and like having money kind of spread out. You can just be like, oh, I just owe G2, $1,000. It's like a lot easier and simplified when you're buying it all from one place. So like that one-stop shop for all your kind of taxidermist needs as far as like making, I guess your trophy come back to life essentially, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely a good thing that we've done, that Sam has had the ideas and we have the staff to be able to bring this dream to fruition. It's cool.
Yeah. It's really super cool.
Yeah.
And I always thought like I remember when G2 first came up, like Sam was like, yeah, I think we're gonna start making our own forms and all this other stuff. Cause obviously being a taxidermist, he's, an artist in his own right when it comes to that kind of stuff. And he's like an award-winning taxidermist. So seeing like the holes in the forms of that were coming in, like how much extra work he had to put into making them look really good. He's like, man, if there's a form that just looked really good, like I'm not going to say that. Let's say like a different form would be like, I'm just going to throw a random percentage out there. It's like 60% there, but then you have to like add the clay and make it look a little bit nicer and make it look like that animal looked when it was alive. And you put an extra 40% of work into the form and the shaping it up, make it look good. If you had a form that was like already like 80% or more there, then it's a lot less work on the taxidermist to make it come to life. Yeah,
we had two sculptors. We have two sculptors that kind of cater towards that more Midwest whitetail. Here recently, we've came in partnership with Wes Moat, who has more of a southern style deer. So that caters towards that portion of that business. Them southern deer look different than our northern whitetail.
Significantly different.
So we had to do something there, and it just worked out with Wes Moat. That we were able to get together with him, and we're now producing those at a pretty rapid pace too. it just came in. It's like we're on the path already. It's high speed already. Just bring another one in, and it's yeah, it's that again, that portion of it too. We have some that are pretty similar, but not quite the same, but still work for those southern deer too. Specifically, some of our smaller pedestals, and those sales of those have ramped up because I believe that the business from that Wes's southern, sculpted deer have brought that attention to G2, and then hey, there's some pedestals there that actually work too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So are you guys still? It's just whitetails though, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not getting into like Coos deer, even though it's a kind of a whitetail, but not really. Like we're not getting into that yet, are we? Or
No,
okay.
we're strictly only whitetails right now. Yeah.
The actual whitetail family, not like the weird subspecies of like Coos and shit.
Not currently. There's been a lot of ask, and it'd be cool to do it maybe at some point, but
Yeah, if there's a big enough need, but there's so many more whitetails than there are Coos.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it's like you got to cater to your more to your audience, I guess. So being Midwest based,
the bulk of the customer base is whitetail for sure. Well, I mean, mule deer is pretty dang close. We've been asked like, hey, what about mule deer? And hey,
yeah.
Never say never. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, you start branching to mule deer and stuff out west, and they're like, whoa, what about elk? What about moose? Are you going to do that too? It's like, all right, buddy.
Yeah, let's not snowball this whole thing.
You realize we're headquartered in Iowa, right?
Yeah. Right.
There's probably someone else that's handling most of the west stuff right now, but it's like, hey, if there's a need and there's if there's a demand for it, then you can't. Yeah. Being a businessman, you can't ignore the demands.
Absolutely.
Either.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. It's pretty. I think the mule deer are maybe covered. I don't know because I don't look too much at the mule deer, but I'm assuming it's probably pretty well taken care of. There's a lot of bigger taxidermy supply companies that produce those. So we'll see. Hey, if we find a hole somewhere, we're gonna fill it.
That's right. Because I know, like, okay, this is what I was getting at. With G2, when you guys first started, I was kind of thinking too. I'm like, man, like, there's already like a bunch of reputable form companies out there that have. I felt like after talking to my buddy that does taxidermy and stuff, it's like, Mackenzie, right? Mackenzie.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's like another couple that are like really big in forms and stuff.
Reinhardt.
Yep. And I kind of thought, like, that's kind of a tough industry to break into when you're just making, like, why would people go to G2 over like a Mackenzie form that they're already used to? They're already used to getting Mackenzie forms, and they're already used to building it up, and they have their whole system built and everything else. And it's like, well, why would they go over to G2 if you guys are just, at the end of the day, a form is a form. And then I start seeing the forms. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
These are significantly different than, like, I'm not bashing Mackenzie. They do great stuff too, but it's like, it's a lot different. Like, you just look at them and you're like, there's a lot more detail in the form. There's a lot more, I guess, I don't know if care would be the right term, but it kind of feels like it, where it's like, it just seems like it's it's just a better form. It's just a really good form already. Like, if you weren't that good at taxidermy, you could kind of just slap some hide on a G2 form and it'd look pretty good. A lot better than, some other taxidermy I've seen in the wild, where it's like, dude, what is this?
I can say that the sculptors have done really well to get to that point where you can you don't have to do a whole lot of alterations to it to get, a pretty decent product, or end result out of it.
That makes everything
really
faster.
nice. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you want to help bridge that gap a little bit. Those guys got to spend that time on it. It's like, okay, how do I spend my money? Do I spend it in the form, or do I spend it in the amount of time I spend on each piece? And so you got to think about that a little bit. And they all weigh it out for themselves and stuff. And some guys, they'll take the time to do that. But this is just another factor in the whole deal. And
you guys are also very competitively priced.
Yeah, it's
like, you're right there.
It's it all goes back to business stuff. Low overhead. That's one of the things. It can be pretty strenuous on the body, but we got some pretty able-bodied guys that can do it day in and day out and stuff, and so that helps. That overall cost, and then keeps the product at a reasonable price too. So that's probably our biggest help for the price of the form.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously Sam's not doing all this himself, but he did a very good job at surrounding himself with people that care, And that's a huge thing. It's like my parents, they have a diner in town, and it's like the number one thing for them is like having good workers is like really hard to come by, you know. But Sam did a very good job at hiring the right people at the right time, like you, right from the rip. You got a lot of business owners, especially small business owners that have big dreams. It gets hindered by not having the help. Like, and if you get lucky here and there, you catch a lucky break, and you get, you know, one or two guys are really like, yep, I'm in. This is it. Like, let's go. Let's take this to the top kind of thing. Well, like having that mindset is very hard to find in workers anymore, especially. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But that is for sure. Like, that's the problem everywhere. Every industry, everything is it's hard to find good help anymore. But with Sam and I, it was a happy accident. Like, I just happened to come in and shop one day because I knew he had this stuff going on. I was like, hey, can I do this? You know, goof around with this for a little bit. He goes, yeah, sure. And then it just all fell into place. It's like, hey, you're a dang good worker. And hey, for me, it's like, I like this and I think this is pretty cool. And then we talk about the numbers and the business side of things a little bit. And it's like, so it was a happy accident for both of us. We both got lucky in the whole thing. So, and then also the area that we're in, we just know a lot of people. Sam and I just know a lot of people. Sam, he said this before, you know, like him and I are a lot alike. We know a lot of people because we're talkers. And so we know so many people in the area. Sam knew Wes from, he's also a dog breeder and a dog trainer, and they knew each other. And then, it was Sam knew Tate and Torrin's dad, and they both work for us. They're the twins in the shop. Tate helps me back in the G2 area, and then Torrin's a taxidermist, who she focuses on whitetail up front. So it's like, it's really nice to be able to know a lot of people and then be like, we know you personally and you're a hard worker. Like, you know, this is who we want, kind of the people who we want to go after. And it's pretty easy when they come walking in. It's like, you know, immediately it's like, we know you, we like you. Yeah.
So it's not much of an interview process then.
Not really.
You're not like putting out an ad like, I need help.
Right.
You know, it's like,
right.
Sam has gotten, well, you can't really put it all in luck. He's obviously very personable and a very likable guy, but I did a podcast with him, what is this, a few months ago now? When was it? Earlier this spring.
Yeah, it was
I went down there,
when you guys were down for
the African Clinic. Yeah. And that was a fucking, if you guys haven't listened to that podcast, that was like probably one of my favorite podcasts I've done. Like his life story, just diving into all that stuff. Like he's a serial entrepreneur, but he built giant business, a big construction company, doing this, doing that, making money hand over fist, and got life by the balls. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, no, you don't. And it's just crushed him. And he's like, now what am I going to do? He had to totally reinvent himself at not a super young age either.
No.
He was a seasoned adult.
2007, and I think he's 62 or 63 now.
This is during the 2008 housing, like the market crash around 2008. And it just totally just destroyed him. He's like, now what the fuck am I going to do? I don't know. I'm get in taxidermy, I guess. It's just like, you're like, what? You go from like building, doing multi-million-dollar construction jobs, and you're like, well, that's not working out anymore. Now what am I going to do? I guess I got to keep, because he's talking about the IRS. Like, I got to keep the IRS on my back, so I have to do something. He's like, let's do taxidermy. He's like, that's a very bold choice, sir, because there's not, generally speaking, not a shit ton of money in taxidermy, but he has the mindset for it. He had the passion. And he just went after it. And it's like,
he's one of those guys that seizes the opportunity. He keeps his eyes open for opportunity. He keeps his head on a swivel, if you will, to look for those opportunities. He doesn't overlook things. He's constantly thinking about something, and he doesn't miss much. And so that helps him, be like, hey, this is something that could fit where we could do this. I mean, I won't go into too much detail, but there's some things like that happening, chatter around the shop, but like where else can we pivot to do more things?
Yeah. You have to do that stuff, especially as a small business when you're trying to, and he's like, obviously making money. You have to make money in order to stay in business. You have to make money in order to survive. And then you start bringing on employees. You get blessed with good employees. You don't want them walking out on you. So you got to take care of them, make sure all their needs are met for them and their families and everything else. It's a big responsibility, honestly. Like being an employer, I've never been one, but being an employer it's a big responsibility. And it's like, there's some companies out there, obviously, that we all know, like you see on the news and stuff, that they don't give a shit about their employees. There's like, whatever, I'm making money hand over fist. Like, it workers are a dime a dozen to Walmart. Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
But for small businesses, it's like, it's really make or break. If you get good help, you really want to take care of them and all that stuff. And like, if you care about them, like it could be a big stressor, honestly, because life happens. And, if you know you have a good worker and you kind of know what you got, and you're, if you're a bad business owner or a bad boss and you're taking advantage of them, like, they're just going to leave. A hard worker, a good worker is hard to come by today's day and age. And it's like, someone's going to pick them up.
Yeah.
So you really got to care. And if you don't just automatically care, kind of like Sam does, like, he just has it in him.
He takes care of his people.
He takes care of his people.
Really takes care of his people.
He actually genuinely cares.
He does.
But if you don't have that, it's like, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
But he does. And it's like, I'm super happy for him and for you and for everyone over there, because you guys are constantly doing, like, I love seeing it. You guys are constantly trying to do new things and try to do different things and trying to kind of push the envelope in the taxidermy world, which is pretty cool, because it's not like it's super, I don't know how to say it. It's not a super, like, innovative world.
There's
not
a whole lot of stones, that are not been unturned.
Right.
It's pretty, it's there's a lot of things that have been figured out. But
yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a much better wording than what I said.
It's crazy. It really has been a whirlwind. It's happened so fast too that, I look back and it's like, it's already been 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing, it is encouraging to see the ideas, to see the new thing, the new idea come up. Now, there's a lot of ideas, and so that can be kind of like overwhelming, because I'm one of those guys that likes to plan ahead. And so it's like, okay, we're pointing in that direction, and I don't like going to anything blindly. If I can learn about something to make me understand a little bit more, so I understand what he is talking about with this idea, but maybe like talk with him to say, hey, I'm buying more into this idea. Like, I see it,
Yeah.
I see this as a possibility. Not that it would, whatever I say matters. He's the boss. He's going to choose it. But I mean, so far he's not made a bad decision where it's just like, it's not one of those things like, right, exactly.
Why are we doing this?
It was just like, okay, that isn't like the best route, I guess. Yeah. It's not like, oh no, that's big mistake. Like we can't even, like, we just made a big mistake with that whole thing and we've committed to it and now we can't get out of it or something. There's not been a situation like that. So that makes me feel real comfortable too. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice fine line, I guess, or a comfortable area to be in, is being in the, like, seeing the ideas, but then it's not overwhelming and stressful.
Yeah.
And maybe, like I said, me being me, I'm going to look into it and find out more about it before.
Well, you're a why guy. They like to know
absolutely.
why and how things work. And it's like, well, what's the end game on this one? Kind of deal. And I've always been that way myself as well. And it got me in trouble a little bit in the Army. But where I came from in the Army, like, I was in the National Guard first, and I was in the reconnaissance platoon. So, like, we had a sniper section with us and everything else. And those guys were all fucking legit. And there were they're the best soldiers I've ever worked in my life. Like, they were all hard, heavy hitters, and they cared and all this other stuff. But they weren't afraid to not be questioned, because that's really looked down upon in the Army. But, like, if you ask, like, oh, why are we doing this? Like, why are we going this way? Or why are we doing that? Or, like, if you ask a good question, they're not afraid to, like, sit down and be like, okay, this is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, we have orders to come do this, and we're going to do it this way, and this is why. It's like, okay, great. Now I can buy into it with full confidence, and then I can walk out and go on patrol with full confidence, knowing, like, okay, we aren't just walking around like a bunch of fucking idiots and waiting to get shot at. Like, there's a reason. There's method to the madness, and this is why we're out here doing these things.
Yeah.
And it makes you care more about the mission. It makes you more vigilant and all that stuff. And that transfers into the civilian world, where it's like, if you are working in a civilian, the civilian sector, it's like, yeah, it's good to know why, because then you buy into it more, and you're like, okay, I'm in. Here we go. Let's do this.
That's it. And I'm one of those. I hate the whole, well, that's how we've done it. That's how we've always done it, or do as I say.
Yeah,
because I'm the boss.
I'm
or something
boss, bitch.
Are you serious? Well, I'm challenging in those ways, and it's got me into trouble a couple of times too in my law enforcement career. But, like, I always wanted to know why, and then again buy into it. Like then I'm invested in it. Like I believe we're doing something correct or reasonable reasonable. You know, we can't do everything correct or perfect all the time, but reasonable. And Sam does that. I've always wanted to do that, and now I have the opportunity to do that. I'm okay with, if you want to call me a boss. I hate the word boss, supervisor, or anything like that. I like to call myself an advisor in the shop because I know a lot. I've been there since the beginning, and I'm good at troubleshooting. And so when it comes to that, like, come ask me a question. I don't have any problem with anybody in the shop coming and ask me why, even from shipping or receiving or Sam coming in or whoever. Well, why? You know, it's like, oh, absolutely. Because, well, first off, it's story time. This is why. And I love the industry, but then it's like, this is why they buy in. And it's like, in the shop, we're full tilt into whatever, you know, that path is, whether it's laid out by me in the shop or Sam's idea coming into the shop. We're all bought into it, and we're all full steam ahead. And it's,
and I think that shows a sign of strong leadership, honestly. Like, I've had leaders in the military, and I know you had in law enforcement too, where it's like, there's a lot of those guys that are like, well, you know, okay, let me word this right. When I'm a soldier, when I ask why, I'm not questioning your intent or trying to question your validity as a leader. I want to know why so I can buy into it, like we just previously said. But like a sign of good leadership is like, well, I've already done the thought process, and I'll explain it to you. The leaders are like, because I'm in fucking charge, and you do what I say because it's a lawful order from a non-commissioned officer. It's like, okay, well, you're a fucking idiot is what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, roger that.
Roger that.
When I leave, like, you're a fucking moron. You have no idea why either. You got given direction, so now you're given direction. You didn't get direction. Think about what to do. Think about the best plan and the best plan of course of action to complete said mission. You're just like, do this because I said so. And it's like, well, you suck. You fucking suck. You didn't do any of the legwork. You didn't do your due diligence as a leader to process the why, so you don't have a good, clear course of action. So then we get yelled at by our platoon sergeant or higher, and like, why are you guys walking around like a bunch of fucking idiots out here in the middle of the desert? And it's like, that's what I was told to do.
We were told to.
Sir, this is what my NCO told me to do. And he's like, roger that. I'll be right back. All right, you guys are done doing that. We're going to go do this now. You know, it's sick. Now I'm fucked.
Now we're confused.
And I'm sure, because like, did you go from law enforcement? I know we touched on this last time you were here, but it was so long ago. Did you go from law enforcement straight to G2? And like,
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. I actually had this is what kind of is the weird thing is I was searching. Post law enforcement, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but like post law enforcement, I was unemployed for several months. And so I was looking at construction because I saw that'd be the money. I mean, there's a lot of trades in that area, you know, not high paying trades. And trades are where it's at. You know, if I would have got in and stayed with it, and if it had been a love for me, I'd been probably really set, you know, going forward. But I didn't love the jobs. They were kind of okay and cool at the beginning, you know. I did electrician's apprentice, tried that, and I wasn't a fan of there was a lot of travel, and I didn't care for the travel, and I already had one kid. And so then
that changes things.
Planning on another one, so it's like, well, you know, I don't really want to do that route. Well, we had a local company who was doing steel buildings, so you're hanging, you know, steel beams and doing sheet metal and all that stuff, which was cool at the beginning. And then you got into the crews and their personalities and stuff like that. So some days I never knew if I was going to get a raise or be thrown off a roof.
Right. Yeah.
So you get those things.
Dude, the trades that's where the money's at right now, because they're like AI proof or whatever it is, you know. Like AI is not going to be building houses or doing electrical work. Or
I'd like to see them hang
like
steel.
Hanging steel, you know. But at the same time, like, the trades can be, like, it attracts a certain type of personality sometimes, and there are some personalities on the job sites. You know, like they're out there.
So I steered completely away from that, and I was toying with the idea of getting, you know, involved in banking. What were the other ideas? You know, I'm just mulling this over. This is probably over the course of 4 years that I was doing this, you know, and I was making good money when I was, you know, finding that next thing, you know, but it just wasn't fitting. But what led to G2 was, again, the happy accident. I just so happened to know a hunting buddy of mine's dad was doing this. And this was when it was really early on. And this was
G2.
not even G2 thing. It wasn't even really like, they were just building forms.
Oh, okay.
Because they were wanting to build a few just to do in the shop. And I think that Sam had the idea tucked away, but didn't see what he had as maybe going forward. And this is me completely, I've never asked him about it, but that's what I see from the outside, was he just didn't have what he needed as far as personnel goes and consistency to take that next step. And then again, happy accident. I come walking in the door like, dude, let me sling foam for a little bit, make these forms just while I find another job. He goes, okay. And probably 2 weeks later, his stepson, Colton, he was like, hey, you know, you're coming here consistent. You're making a bunch of these forms. You're doing good. Like, this is kind of where we want it to go. And we think you might be the guy to really help push this thing forward. And then I kind of gave him the rolling eyes, like, oh yeah, taxidermy business. That sounds like a real money maker.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And then I heard some numbers of what some of the things they have been actually involved in. It wasn't just numbers they heard, but some that they've been involved in. And I was like, oh, okay.
This might be a viable business.
I think so.
Okay.
So, and then that's when I looked into it. You know, you have these big supply companies, and it's like, well, maybe we should commit to this. It's like literally 5 minutes from home.
Yeah,
and
that's hard to
then
beat.
It's like
Not traveling.
and it was actually the starting wage was pretty similar to what I was making in the trade, just because it was piecework. So that kind of helped me out there to get my jump start. So yeah, that I didn't. It wasn't law enforcement straight into G2. I don't know that I was able to do it in the capacity that I was when I stepped into G2.
Yeah.
You know. So
And like going back even further, we'll just work our way back, I guess.
Yeah.
Start present, and now we're going back to the past. But
Yeah.
now I'm curious, I guess, too. Like, when you were like a kid and growing up, did you always want to be in law enforcement? Is that something that you always wanted to kind of get into?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. My favorite childhood memories was Saturday mornings, Cops with my dad.
Oh, like the show Cops?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
buddy.
like I don't remember all.
Why are you sweating? Watch Cops.
Oh man, it's like I'm on the edge of the seat, and I don't even know if my feet were even touching the ground because I was so small. I'm talking. I was like 5 probably.
Dude, Cops rule. I watch that shit with my mom all the time.
It went so
Yeah.
hard. It was so, and I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie anyways, and so it's like, this is what's going to happen next. Like, oh, foot pursuit, didn't know that was coming, and so, and I think that the one real core memory, I was thinking about this on the way up, is there was a guy's name. I don't know what department he worked for, in what state, what city, but his first name was Wolfgang.
Oh, sick.
And I was like,
Okay.
so if there's dudes that do this stuff and they have names like Wolfgang, like, come on, dude, this sounds like the coolest gig ever. And then mom steps in. Oh, honey, you don't want to do that. That's a dangerous job. Insurance, the health insurance sucks. You know, all this stuff, talking it
You
down.
don't get paid enough. Yeah.
You don't get paid enough. And so it's like, well, maybe you're right, Mom, you know? So, I guess jumping ahead, I got to jump ahead a little bit. You know, I always thought it was cool watching cops growing up and then seeing, you know, law enforcement do their thing. But then this kind of is a contributing thing to it. I got pulled over by a trooper one time in Illinois. I had a truck that of course, everybody's going to roll their eyes maybe when I say this, but it's like my speedometer was legitimately off. Like, I had no idea. It was aftermarket tires.
Me too.
And I probably was doing maybe 2 over the speed limit, which pushed me 5 to 7 over the speed limit. I don't know. And he treated me horribly.
Okay, nice.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
He's like, are you questioning my equipment and stuff like this? And I'm like, no, I trust that you test your equipment every day. I just didn't know. And then he goes, you're going to talk yourself into a ticket. I'm dead serious. I'm not one to get or ever gotten like that way with law enforcement.
Yeah, you're not like trying to sit there and get bucky with them.
Absolutely
like,
not. I mean, I respect law enforcment to the fullest. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they're you know, I go back to Cops. It's like, this doesn't make sense. The cops on the show Cops did not act like you.
Yeah.
And so that was like my first bad experience with like a negative experience with law enforcement. So I'm like, that sucked.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that for anybody. And then I lived in Phoenix, Arizona for a little while. Did some stuff out there. Got certified to be a personal trainer. So that's one thing also. That's you know, one of the things that I've checked off to, you know,
test the waters.
Yeah, just try it out. Again,
you're obviously into fitness.
Yeah, and so
just saying you're a good buddy. All right.
I'm doing pretty good for 37. I'll be 38 on Saturday.
Oh shit!
In 2 days. Yep.
Hey,
so
happy early birthday, dude.
Appreciate it.
Hell
Thank
yeah,
you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So I feel good. It feels good to still be in as good a shape as I am.
Yeah. Well, when we were kids too, and you look at some like 37, 38-year-olds, like, bro, you're about to kick the bucket.
You ain't gonna last much longer, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. There's a thing, whatever it is, like there's things that you move and you feel better. You
Right.
aren't as big as you are. But that was again like the 2008 to 2011, housing market, poor economy stuff. That's
You're
when
trying
I
to be a
started.
personal trainer at that time.
Absolutely.
Fucking rough.
Nope.
Not a good time.
No. Everybody.
No one have extra money during that time.
Zero. No. My clientele dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at a steep pace. I mean, it got to the point where I had to go work at Amazon because there was just nothing. And so
You're stuck in Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm stuck in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I'm losing money because I'm not making the money like I wanted and needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
real quick, can I just pick your brain on
Yeah.
that real quick? So when you're a personal trainer, are you working at a gym, and then is it like a barber where you have to like pay rent to be a personal trainer there?
in some cases, yes. The gym that I trained at, no.
Okay.
It was a whole different thing. There was I forget all the details in it, but that's just not one of those
Would you have
things.
to be like okayed through the gym and stuff?
Yeah,
or
yeah. You had
whatever
to
it
be
is?
be
vetted
certified and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
But
Then it's on you to get clients. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not like maybe they'll refer, but they're not feeding you clients.
there was a
necessarily.
walk-in type thing to just like try it out. Like, is this something that you want to do? And you got paid like an hourly rate, but it was like a pretty low rate. You had
waitress rates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to make the money, you had to bring in and like upsell the personal training,
Mm-hmm.
and the packages and stuff like that. You sold them in 10 sessions or 20 sessions or 6 months or whatever it is. Whatever
Are you
it looked
setting
like.
that stuff though? Or
They're
is the gym
setting
setting?
it.
Okay,
The
gotcha.
gym is
You're
setting it.
getting a portion of it or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
exactly.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
the long-term goal was to get more into motocross and that training. That sport has gotten so physically demanding that not only the physicality of it, but the injury prevention.
Sure.
You have to be ultra strong in your core and and everywhere to be able to do that. And that's where I wanted to go with it. Was I wanted to build myself there and then go to a training facility, which would have probably ended up putting me in California at some point. But I kind of okay with that plan falling through.
Back then was Arnold still the governor then? So it might have been all right then.
I don't know.
Sure.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
I don't know if I
It
want
was
to.
before that.
But
Either way, not a great place to be right now.
no.
So
No. So I was attending a church, and one of the youth leaders was a Phoenix cop. And I'm like, hey, can I just come ride along with you sometime? Like, I watched cops growing up, stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool, And
how old were you then?
21, 22.
Okay,
maybe.
so you're young lad. Yep.
Yeah. So I did that. We went to a domestic had a high speed chase.
Jeez.
Somebody got murdered that night.
Whoa.
That was pretty cool. Not really cool for that guy,
Well,
but
yeah, that would suck. That guy.
the law enforcement response was ultra impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen so many vehicles in one area,
Mm-hmm.
but then everybody had everything covered. It was an amazing thing because 17 is the main highway that runs down through there, and there's a lot of when you meet Highway 10 and 17, when they converge, there's all kinds of overpasses and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody hit every one of those overpasses and everything got covered because this is a vehicle leaving this murder, so they're looking for a vehicle.
Jeez.
And
Phoenix?
so in Phoenix,
A lot of
yes.
vehicles.
So and they
Is
end
it
up.
nighttime?
This is a night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another key thing. This
really
made
easy
it
to find.
a little bit more. The energy up a little bit was at night. So yeah, we're searching for a vehicle, leaving a murder scene, and the highway was just covered, and then every off ramp and on ramp was covered. Everybody was looking. It was a really cool deal. I think it was some guy messing around a apartment complex. I think this was like later on, like in the morning. It was almost sunrise, and this guy was acting really funny, and I saw him, but the officer I was with, Ken Barton, That's his name.
Okay.
Ken Barton.
Sounds like a cop.
Yeah, Ken
Did he have a mustache?
Ken was cool. He didn't have a mustache.
damn it.
I'm sure he tried it at one point. I think I almost seen it. Like I think it was a Facebook because that's all I keep in touch with him anymore is through Facebook. I think I saw a mustache picture at some point in there.
I was saying, like, with a name like that, you gotta have a mustache, dude.
Yeah. So he didn't see him because the guy was on the passenger side, view. And I could have been blocking his view, so he didn't see him. I was like, this guy was acting kind of funny when you drove by. Is that something that you look into? He goes, absolutely, we do. So we turn around, and he gets out and it's like a soft approach type thing in law enforcement. You're not detained. You're just like, hey, what's up? And I don't remember all the details, but it was like he started talking. I think he might have gave an ID, but I don't know there was a U.S. citizen ID. Long story short, he was at least an MS-13 gang member, confirmed based off his tattoos and stuff. And so I believe he had warrants too. We ended up taking him in. So I was like, okay, well, I know how to have my head on a swivel. Like there's things about me that like I'm observant and I'm attention to detail stuff. And it's like maybe this is the thing, And of course the memories of being 5 watching Cops.
Yeah.
This is a good idea. So
let's see where this goes. Well, also, like you're in Phoenix, and you grew up in a smaller town in Iowa. Definitely didn't grow up in Phoenix.
Yeah,
right?
Actually, I grew up in Illinois. I eventually relocated.
Illinois.
I relocated in Iowa. But I mean, literally, it's the same way.
Midwest
it's like
guy.
I'm on the Mississippi, so it's like I've lived around the Mississippi my whole life. So it's like on the Illinois side, just a couple minutes, and then on the Iowa side, a couple minutes. So it's not like it's the same area.
Yeah, but it's not Phoenix area.
It's not Phoenix.
Yeah.
No.
So you're looking around and seeing nighttime shit, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot more going on that I don't see when I'm training in Planet Fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could go into detail, but I won't here on this podcast. But it was a wild. Getting broke into the Phoenix atmosphere was a little wild. Especially me coming from a small town. But it's kind of Western, if you will. It's definitely a different, faster paced area. So.
Yeah.
But
so you got this MS-13 guy in the back now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was not actually any trouble at all. It was surprisingly. So then I popped the question to him like, hey, what's it look like to get into law enforcement, and like how long would it take for me to get like to work here in Phoenix? Like I'm right here. Like this would be the place. And he goes, well, they're not hiring until like 2014. Like there's a list. Like everybody wants to be a cop in Phoenix. They worked out of like kind of like in essence like precincts, and there's like 15, 20 guys in the shift meeting. Okay. It's like they are deep. There's so many law enforcement officers in Phoenix. And then you have the county also that it's Maricopa County. They've also got a massive staff too. And people are just waiting in line to get into those, either that, sheriff's department or Phoenix PD. And so I just didn't think that that'd be a good idea to try to stretch it out till, this is 2011, to try to stretch it out there till 2014. So I'm like, I want to head back home, to Midwest.
That's 3 more years of eating peanuts and fucking scrounging to survive. Well, it was kind of fun. I felt like I was on vacation a little bit, but feeling like you're on vacation, you're spending the money too. So the money's going out too fast, then you're bringing it in. So I'm like, I should head home. And so I'm like, with a plan, I head back to the Midwest and, start kind of kept my eyes peeled for opportunities. We had a great law enforcement college, Western Illinois University. Oh, yeah. They do really well with, all things law enforcement there. And getting you, as far as like book smart. So I thought that'd be a possibility. But then I talked to another local department. I knew a guy there. His name's Ryan Smith, former military, got into law enforcement. I was like, what's it look like to be a cop around here? And he told me about this regional testing that they do there. No, you don't have to have college. And I get into that a little bit, I guess. It's like you can teach all the book smarts in the academy, but you really need to be street smart to really make it. And he thought that I had the street smarts, if you will, to do just fine without the college. So he's like, dude, don't even worry about it. Like you'll be fine. They're going to train you well, and you'll be fine. And so that's kind of the avenue or the path that I went down to eventually becoming that officer. So what's this regional testing? Is it something where you go and you like do like a PT test and all that stuff and kind of get check all the boxes to see if you're like, I guess, meeting all the criteria to be in law enforcement, and then you get put on a wait list kind of thing? Or how's that?
It's a little bit different. They have some various, ideas or processes with regional testing in different areas. I'm sure this is the way it is across the United States. But in our area, it was like 7 departments, sheriff's offices and municipalities that put on this testing, and you came and it wasn't just a physical test, it was actually a written test too.
Yep.
3 different subjects, and then obviously all the physical, tests you typically, go through push-ups, sit-ups, it's a 1.5-mile run, stuff like that.
So it's like that here too, but here you have to get hired. Or not get hired, but it's part of the hiring process. So you apply to a department and then you do that stuff. But but regional testing, you're not.
This you're kind of like, it's. I guess I don't know how I would describe it, but it's almost like I guess you get to meet the departments, and then you do this testing, and it's like, okay, who do you want to go work for? And then you pick up that if you pass, you're open to talk to these departments, and then they hand you the applications for that department.
Oh, okay.
So, and like I said, I think there was 7 at the time that was doing this. That thing is kind of all broken up a little bit now. I think they're all doing their own thing. But that's what it was you tested, you passed or failed. If you passed, you could talk to all the departments and see, what those areas were like, what towns were like, who you may or may not know that you might want to work with or something like that. And then you just picked up those applications. So now you could have liked the department, one department, and like, I want to work there, but you may not fit there or something, just whatever,
Sure. Are all these departments hiring at the time though? Or is it like kind of like
some?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some, but they keep you. I mean, obviously they're like, well, we have the applications. If a position comes open, then we have a list of guys who we want to interview on backup. That
makes sense.
It's probably more talked about now than it has been in the past, but law enforcement has a high turnover rate, and so they've got to keep some people lined up to at least interview and talk to, keep that conversation open a little bit, to maybe eventually hire them.
I feel like there's even more turnover
it's absolutely, there is.
Yeah.
There absolutely is. The department that I worked for is going through that. It just seems like it's constant. They're always understaffed.
Well, yeah, and Illinois is a tough state to be a cop in.
Yeah.
Because don't want to jump ahead, but I'll let you keep going. But I know Illinois is kind of like Minnesota, where it's like being a cop in those states is generally a lot more difficult than in other states. Like Iowa is a pretty law enforcement friendly state. Minnesota is not.
Yes.
So it's like, I can about imagine what the turnover rates in Minnesota is right now, where it's like, I want to get in law enforcement. You get in there like, this is not what I expected. Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and be an electrician.
Yeah. Yeah. It may have pushes them back that way for sure. I definitely, I could say that as Iowa is definitely pro law enforcement for sure. I mean, if I was to put a percentage on it, like the town that I worked in, I bet 95% of the public had our backs. It's that 5% that, well, I guess there was 3% that didn't care and then 2% that hated you.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I viewed my department, or the city that I worked in when I worked at that department. So
okay, so you did regional testing.
Yep.
You got on with that, and then you applied.
So I applied to I think three different departments, and they all hired different guys, being that some of them had schooling, some of them had military experience. That they also take that into consideration too. I have no law enforcement schooling, or have I had any military, service.
Yep.
So it was like, I'm pushed down the list quite a ways, I guess. And then it was a captain with the Fort Madison Police Department that reached out to me, said, hey, you still interested in this? It wasn't even a department that I had applied for, but I was interested. He asked if I was interested in being a cop. I said, well, how'd you get a hold of me? I guess, how'd you get my number? He goes, well, there's a guy we hired who knows you that said good things about you.
Oh.
And so he's
nice.
like, we want to give you an opportunity down here. I said, okay, sounds good. I ain't getting any other calls. And everybody, there was some guys that were interested. I mean, there was a sheriff that was really disappointed because he could only hire one. He wanted both of us, but the other guy had like 6 months of schooling. And then I don't know why, I think he like stopped going. Like he got through the application or the testing process, and they got hired before he was through.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes a possibility. Yeah. If you're going to get hired anyways, and they're going to teach you what you need to know at the academy, it's like, why?
Yeah.
You know?
Why finish it? Why waste time?
Yeah. So I mean, there is, and some people would say that'd be silly, but there's a lot of police departments and sheriff's offices that even state patrol that even once you get in, they'll send you to do either law enforcement focus classes or take classes that are pertinent to law enforcement or would help the department. And so it's not like your schooling ends there just because you got that job.
No, I mean, well, honestly, like the point of schooling is to make you more like hireable.
Yeah.
So like if you're already hired, then what's the point of fucking school?
Yeah.
There's no point. Like you're not. It's better. Law enforcement is one of those things where it's like I feel like it's best to learn on the job if you have the opportunity to learn on the job. Yeah. So like you said, you can only learn and read about so much stuff. When it's a hands-on job, it's like you kind of need to go hands-on to make the most of it.
Yep. So. And it was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
on the job versus not that I had, like I said, any schooling, but you look into it and it's like, well, what am I going to learn and stuff like that. And especially, you see the things, at least for me anyways, is I went through school, junior high and high school, and I didn't feel like I used any of that stuff, later on in life.
Right.
So it's like, is that how that's going to be in college? I mean, there's some good stuff, like case law especially, that you learn in college, and then dissecting that can help you understand things on the job too. But hands-on, definitely, you're going to learn a lot more.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so you got the call from Fort Madison, and you're like, yeah, dude, sounds good.
Yeah. It was real quick. I said, yeah. I think they did, it wasn't even really an interview, but they wanted a interview on, I guess, the books, I guess you'd say. But I got hired right away. And I think it was maybe a month that I was sent to the academy. So some of these, the guy that was hired, 2 guys were hired before me, and then the one guy who told them about me, they had already been on for several months and had a lot more time to see things. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of stepped in, saw a few things, and then left for the academy. So it was pretty quick.
Like bang bang.
Yeah, it was real quick. Yeah.
Yep.
So. Academy was fun.
Was it?
It was definitely it was fun. Stressful at times, but it's like it's supposed to be. That's what they want you to do. They want to apply stress to you to get into those, to be able to work through those situations, high stress, dynamic situations and stuff. So the training was good. Mm-hmm.
Was it the ILEA back then? So you went to Des Moines or. Yeah, Des Moines, right? Or
it was in Johnston. It was in Johnston.
Yeah.
Yep. At Camp Dodge.
Yep. So that's where they still do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my brother just got done with it. Ashley's about ready to go to it. I feel like this is just Victory Drives is turning into a law enforcement podcast, but it's like that's who I'm surrounded by. All right, I have 2 family members, my wife and my brother. I'm obviously very close with both of them. Well, obviously my wife very close with her. But yeah. It's like my brother, he just got done with it, and he, being in the military, he kind of went through the academy. He's kind of like, fuck, this is a bunch of dumb shit. But at the same time, he's like, I get it.
Yeah.
But he's older, and but he also gets it where he's like, there's a bunch of 21, 22, 23-year-old people, kids essentially, that are going through to be cops. And he's like, I get why they have to be the way they are. But for him, he's just kind of like, it's kind of lame because I already did this shit in the military. You don't need to yell at me for my room being, or for this other dude's room being not tidy, and now I'm fucking doing push-ups for her. It's like, I get it, but for him, he's just kind of you just kind of bear through. But he did say especially the driving stuff and that more hands-on stuff. He's like, that was great. But
it was.
You have to break people down a little bit to get them, like you said, induce a little bit of stress, make sure they're not going to cave under pressure and all that other jazz, and kind of get them out of the mindset. You might be 22, but this isn't your fucking mom's basement anymore, dude. You're going to go out in the real world, see real shit.
You got to
fucking get ready for it.
Absolutely.
So there's no other way. You can't really train that into somebody, but you can do your best.
Yeah.
By hopefully making them realize this is a big boy thing.
Yeah.
This isn't anything else. It's much different.
Yeah,
So,
get them as close as they can to the real thing without overdoing it.
yeah. There's only so much you can do in a classroom setting, but at the same time, like you got to try.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So
Yep.
I totally understand that. But so you went through, going through the academy. Like, what was some like highlights from the academy? Does anything really stand out to you? I know it's probably been a little while. But.
Well, I mean, obviously the firearms. The driving was fun. Fun stories about that too. We were the first ones to do gravel training, and the last ones to do gravel training.
Okay,
that was a memorable moment.
It's usually good when it's like you're the first and the last. So
we destroyed some tires. Let's just say that. And there was a lot of kids that came from country areas that knew how to drive on gravel, and so we were pushing the limits a little bit in those cars. So that was fun. Oh shoot! I guess just all the buddies that I made. That's a big memory. Let's see. Hey, I forget about this all the time. Defensive tactics. Mm-hmm. That was always pretty cool. Little story there. So when I was younger, I had a little accident with some teeth breaking, and so I broke my teeth out, my two front ones, like partially, and so they fixed them. Mm-hmm. Well, in the academy, the one day that we had to go rushing from PT to DT, physical training, to defensive tactics, we didn't bring our mouth guards. Long story short, the instructor's doing some of his thing on me. He slid his hand up my arm, up across my shoulder, and hit me in the jaw. My teeth raked across each other and broke one of my teeth. And of course, this guy is he's your typical defensive tactics guy. He's like, yeah, do this. Yeah. Really passionate about everything and stuff like that. He turned white as a ghost. He's like, I'm in trouble.
Oh, fuck.
We are supposed to have our mouth guards in, and we failed to do that. And he was like, Sianowski's office now. He was the director at that time. And we go in there. He's like, how do we fix this? And he goes, Metzger's office, which is another instructor there. We go down to his office real quick. He slams open the door. Very almost like movie-esque thing. Door slams open. He freaks out in the seat, and he goes, what's going on? He goes, hey, isn't your brother-in-law still a dentist? He goes, yeah. He goes, get him on the phone. We got a tooth to fix. My tooth was broke out at 11:30, and by 4 I had a tooth all fixed up. So that was interesting. So
you're just running around like, what the fuck?
It was it's pretty comical now. There's sometimes where I'll see the defensive tactics instructor every once in a while that I had, and I see him and he sees me and we just laugh, because we had to do updates. He was also a OWI trainer, if you will. Anytime there's the forums and stuff like that and updates to any of that stuff, he trains on that, and then he'll do updates. He'll go to a location, update everybody on those all those things.
Yep.
And then he would do that as well. And so I'd see him at those types of things, and it's like, hey buddy,
Hey, look, man. I still got him. We're good.
Breaks character. The first time he did it, he kind of looked at me and goes, we almost got in trouble that time. we avoided it that time.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. All right. You're good.
Yeah. So, gosh, man, it was 3 months. A lot had happened so quick, I guess. I wasn't really, I did well in the academics portion of it, but I was at the bottom of my list, bottom of the list as far as grades goes, which was okay because all these guys ahead of me were guys and gals were, had taken college classes and stuff like that, or were reserves and stuff so they knew a lot more of this stuff than I did. So I didn't do so well there, but the physical side, I did pretty dang good at. So there's a award you can get for the physical training portion of it. You got to meet certain standards, and it's called the 300-point club. So whatever that is, you accumulates to 300 points based off of the reps and then the time you get in the mile and a half. And I was able to earn one of those while I was there. So I was one of 3 guys in that class. There was 32 guys in that class, guys and gals. There was 3 of us that got that award. So that was kind of cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I know I went to my brother's graduation. I think it's pretty similar. It was he had a really big class, but there's just a handful of guys that got the 300 point club or whatever it was.
Yeah. Pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, and then the mile and a half run. And so,
How fast did you run the mile and a half in?
it was just sub 9. I was having a hard time. It was just we were doing a lot. And I was losing a lot of weight, so I was spending a lot of energy doing the actual running. So by the time I think I went in at like 165, and I was down to 155 when I graduated.
Damn.
So I cut a lot of weight while I was there. I'm just I don't know. I just burn calories really, really quick.
Yeah, you got high metabolism.
I think it's high metabolism or whatever. So
yeah, for sure. I'm an easy gainer. I'm just, if I didn't work out, I'd be a fat bat. So like it's one of those things. It's like smaller guys like, oh man, I wish I was big, and then big guys like me, I'm just like, man, I wish I had a little bit higher metabolism.
Yeah.
If we could just trade a little bit, I'll give you some of my fat. Like give you some of my I'll slow down some of your gaining if you speed up some of my losing a little bit. Like we'll trade off a little bit.
yeah, if it only worked like that.
It doesn't though.
Not at all. So I burned a lot of calories. So I don't think I had the energy storage each time we did the runs and stuff to be able to cut off that time.
Yeah.
I never really gained. I think I just did it barely sub 9 the first time, and we did it 3 times, and I think I ended up at like 8:53. And you needed to do it in 9 minutes in order to get that, to qualify for that. And I wasn't the fittest guy there, but as far as long distance goes, I was the first or second fastest in the longer runs.
Nice.
So
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
And I ran track.
I don't know if
So-
I run that. I'm trying to remember when I was in the Army, we ran 2 miles, and it's like my fastest, I got under 13 minutes once. I'm like, fucking sick.
Yeah.
Good enough. For a big guy, that's pretty good. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's, all right, I'll take that.
You'll take that.
I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was I guess a highlight. You try. I like firearms and stuff like that. I pride myself on being a really good shot. But man, there was a gal there that took top shot. She was a shooter.
Really?
She was really
Nice.
good. She was really good. She took the top shot for the class.
That's one of Ashley's goals. She wants to, she wants some goals because she's a very goal oriented person. But she's like, top shot would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could do it too.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
I think everybody's gunning for it, but it's like, can you really get it?
Right.
You see who was capable of it right off the bat. Some guys that got discouraged real quick because they're like, I'm not as good a shot as I thought.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
it's humbling. Like when you start seeing, when you start putting bullets through paper and especially the time. That's what gets people. When you go to the range and you're just like fucking around in the backyard and you're taking your time, you're shooting, you're like, I'm a pretty good shot.
Yep.
But then when you hit that timer, it's like a different world.
it adds the pressure.
It does
You
add
got
some
other
pressure.
people around you. You got instructors ensuring safety. And you're not really released to carry a firearm on the grounds. You may be with your department. If you're certified firearms through the department, but you're not certified through the academy yet, so you can't just carry firearms around. So they're watching you really close, and they're gonna make sure that you are carrying, using, and doing all the right things before they put that check mark on your things you need to check off that you're good to go.
proficient.
Yeah, that you're proficient in it.
Yeah.
So you got them right there. It's not just one of them. There's 4 or 5 guys, instructors sitting around watching you and stuff, and so it adds quite a bit of more pressure. The timer, the whatever shooting sequence it is, or whatever you want to call it. All my cops, firearms, tech, terms, they
Sounds legit
elude
to
me
me.
sometime, but like your what do you call them? Your things, the exercises that you do.
Yeah.
Like you're shooting, 2 rounds, magazine change, and you've already got the 1 magazine reloaded with 3. You're thinking about that. It's like, okay, 1, 2, dump the magazine, put that one with a 3 in it. 1, 2, 3. Wait a second, did I? What happened? Did I do everything right?
Yeah, because
So you add those sequences of shooting. It's like, did I do it right or something?
Yeah.
So, and then you add.
and you've never done that before either, so it's like,
Not in that capacity, yeah.
The people
I mean,
that have
yeah.
had a little more experience and stuff like that, maybe they went through and qualified already at their previous department, has kind of an upper hand because they're like, oh, I know the testing because I've already done it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of the testing for the department and then the testing throughout your career is very similar to the academy. But basically, the firearms instructors are trained through the academy, and so their sequence of firing is the same.
Right.
Or whatever training it is, or whatever. Again, I can't think of the word for some reason. What it is. Somebody knows what I'm talking about, but your exercises that you go through, whatever that may be. So they know that routine. So that you have to shoot 3 rounds kneeling, 3 rounds prone, or something like that at 100 yards or something.
Now,
Yeah.
too, which is interesting. I think either just changed it or they're already changing it. I think they might have just changed it actually. So
Yeah.
but they're always trying to make it better, make it more realistic and everything else. So
Yeah. So I mean, that was fun. Yeah, I mean the good buddies. That's the memories. The good buddies that you make in the academy and stuff like that. It's just it becomes the brotherhood. Just like they'll say it in the military. It's like you went through basic training about the same time. It's like you grow relationships the same in the academy. You become really good buddies when you're bunking up and seeing those same guys every day in class, and then whether it be chow, showers, firearms after, you ain't going to hang out with anybody else. You don't know anybody in the area, so you're going to, once you did get opportunity to go off base, in the evening times, you're going out with those guys. So it's like you get tight. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why a lot of guys that get out of the military, they're like, well, what next? I'll go be a cop, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it is like similar in that aspect where it's like, the camaraderie and all that stuff. It's like, it's not the same, but it's not
familiar.
Entirely dissimilar. Like it's as familiar as you can get in the civilian world, probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I totally understand that. Yeah. And you're going through some stuff and it's like everyone's, you're forced to be in a place, you miss your family or whatever it is, it's like trying to get through it and you're doing tough stuff. So it's like, it kind of brings a different element of like, rather than just going to work every day with the same people, like a construction job, you go to work and you hang out with your coworkers and stuff and start building a house, but it's like it's not the same as sleeping together, not together, but like, it's bunking up together.
Might as well be. I mean,
all the other things, eating chow together, eating chow together and fucking training together and trying to push each other to do better, and then see the ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, you lean on your buddies too for encouragement in the academy too, because you're gonna be working with guys on shift too.
Yep.
So you're gonna have shift teammates, if you will. It's like you're gonna there's a team element. You're in the team in the academy. They train you like a team. They want you to be a team in the academy, so you have that team, idea going out into each department that you're going to work for. So, yeah.
Okay, so you get done with the academy, and then you go to work, and I guess because how long were you a cop for?
It was 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It was short to I wanted to be there for 30 years, but so it's short, but it felt like a long time. It felt like the longest time of my life, really. Good. It's the best job I ever had and the worst job I ever had. So
that's also like the military.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things. It's like you get asked to do things that not everyone can really relate to. What I mean? Like that's one thing about me getting out of the military, and it's like the stuff that I did and the guys I met and everything else. Like we all whether I served with them or not, like everyone in the military kind of has the same kind of like, we understand it. It's hard to talk to people that weren't in it because they don't really understand. You explain it to them, like how things went, like especially war, like, oh yeah, Afghanistan, and you tell them the stories and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, wow. Oh, geez. Wow. Oh, I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to really, it just kind of feels like you're just explaining stuff, but there's not a whole lot of feedback because they don't. And how you can't really expect them to either. Like, I don't expect like my parents or my wife or my buddies that didn't join. I don't expect them to understand or know what to say or anything like that. Like that's why I just don't really talk about it a whole lot unless they ask. And I'm more than happy to like answer the questions and tell the stories and all that stuff. Like I'm not. But it's like, when we start talking about it, it's just kind of like you get the kind of the same look from people where there's like they don't really get it, but they're trying to understand, and that's awesome and great and everything else. But it's just different, like because the country or your city or your state is asking you to do things that just people don't really realize. And when you're a cop, I feel like I think it's almost even more pronounced because like when I was in the military, it's like I come home, I'm in America, and it's completely different. But then you go to war, and they're not the same people. It's a different country, and they live by different rules. So it's a lot different seeing like kind of I guess the atrocities of war in a third world country than it is to see the atrocities of society in the town that you live in. Like that's one thing that as I learn more about cops and like kind of like their struggles. So I've talked to Josiah and stuff. And he still is a cop in Springfield and stuff. And he went through some hard shit. Like there was a really bad shooting when he was working down there and stuff like that, and he got shot a couple times, and he lost his friend. And it's like seeing that kind of stuff in the city that you live in, and maybe even grew up in. That's completely different than even the military, where it's like, yeah, I deploy and go to war in a different country, but then I come back home and it's generally safe. But then when you're a cop, you go out in your own community, and you're like, during the daytime, everything's hunky-dory. Maybe the nighttime is a completely different story. It's like you're seeing shit happen in your own hometown that's like people have no idea that some of the stuff is happening because it's happening in the shadows.
That was a common thing that got brought up in the academy. It's like it's personal for you when it happens in your community. Like, not that I'm taking away from military at all. It's like you can almost disconnect from it in a way coming home, but when you're living in the community that you're serving and seeing these things, it just makes things more personal.
Yeah, and it's not like that. One is necessarily harder than the other. They're different. It's like, and yeah, when you come back home from war, you do like when that bird lands on American soil, you're like, whew, you feel a weight lift off your chest because you're like, I'm back home. But like when you're a cop, that weight,
when does it lift?
Really, I've never been a cop, so I don't know, but I can about imagine it's like that. It doesn't really ever lift because you're in the same community that you're policing. Yeah. So it's like it's a completely different situation, I feel like.
Yeah. It's based off experience. It's definitely a weight that it lifts at times, but it's still always there. It's things that you see. You're talking about relating. It's like when you talk to anybody about your experiences, whether it's military or law enforcement, you talk to somebody and they understand the language. They understand the words that you're saying, but they don't understand the experience.
Right.
And your guys, whether it be academy, shift mates, you guys you deployed with, they understand the experience. Yeah. And so it's almost like a different language. You're speaking the same words, but it's a different language when you're speaking to somebody in law enforcement or when you're in law enforcement or I think even military to law enforcement as well. It's just there's that underlying experience that has more of a meaning around the words that you're saying, if you will. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I guess
100%. No, that makes total sense to me.
It's hard to talk about things. I mean, we see it. It's like it's hard for military guys to talk about their experiences when we should be talking about the experiences to process them or just get things out in the air or whatever it is. It's that's a thing.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
And like I said, like coming back home, it's like you always have the thoughts in the back of your head where it's like, oh, what could I have done different, and all the what ifs. You can what if yourself to death, literally. Where it's like, but it's really hard to get out of mindset. It is hard to talk about because it's like, who do you talk to? So you talk to your friends that are going through the same kind of stuff, and you try your best, but it's like, I don't know. I tried therapy before, but it's like you talk to some fucking therapist and you're like, you still, like, it's just like they're trying. Maybe I've had really bad experience with therapists, so don't take my experiences. Yeah. I want people that need help to go get help. I just had to find a different route because I went through a couple different therapists, and it's like I just didn't feel like they had my best interest in mind. Like I didn't get that feeling that they cared. But that's just, and I didn't try a shit ton, but I tried a couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't working out. I need to figure something else out. And so processing that kind of stuff is different, and like I'm sure it's very similar in the cop and law enforcement and stuff, but it's also like dealing with that stuff. It's like when you go overseas and fighting a war overseas, it's a lot. Like, I guess to put it bluntly, like the killing is happening in a different country that isn't necessarily televised to the American people all the time. Law enforcement's all the time it's televised, especially with body cams now and everything else. It's like, and if shooting a law enforcement officer has a police shooting happen or something like that, it's like that's a whole nother can of worms too, because it's like it's not a third world country with someone that you're not fighting someone you don't know. Like, you generally probably know these people, at least to a certain extent. So it's an American and an American, and I feel like that's a I don't know how it affects differently, but I feel like it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's under much more scrutiny too. There's a lot that I've had talks with guys in the military and stuff like that, how they operated over there versus how we have to operate over here. It's just two different things, but we still have the same morals. It's like we want us to save lives, and if there's a live threat, and we're going to take that threat out.
Right.
We don't want that threat to continue. So that's the same. We have them same moral standards, but then like the operations are different. So again, not going into that side of things, because that can be a deep subject too. Explaining all those differences.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely more scrutinized, televised, recorded on phones, whatever it may be. And taken out of context. Because it's like you can clip a half a video and make it look completely different than what the totality of the circumstances was.
Yeah.
It's like what actually happened.
Because did you guys all wear body cameras when you were in law enforcement too? Or were they not quite?
We were a little bit behind in tech, so body cams were a thing. We got them a little bit later.
Okay.
I did at one point in time. I wore a body camera.
Gotcha.
So we had a mic. Basically, the mic was connected to the vehicle, which would the video would be through obviously you see the video that's shot from the
dash cam
car, like a dash cam, and then there's a mic that we would put on that would record. So we had the audio and video in the cars, but when we were away and out of the view of the dash cam, there was no video to be had. It was just all audio. So the body cam came in, which was able to cover, when we got out of the cars, interacting with people, any instance.
How do you feel about body worn cameras?
I thought it was a phenomenal thing.
It
showed for the ones that were doing bad, the low percentage that were doing their job bad or just completely, the horrible cops. It made them accountable, held them accountable. But for the guys that were doing the job right, it showed the level of patience and self-control that law enforcement really has that
I think so
they didn't
too.
see.
Yeah.
And it showed the chaos that we've seen in the public. But you could view it now through that body camera footage. It's like, oh, what they're saying in these reports of how this person acted is true, and actually it looks worse.
Yeah.
It looks way worse.
Well, and it's like, I think it's great because I think it's it has really exonerated, and obviously not the fullest extent, I guess, but in my point of view, it's like it's helped out a lot more cops than it has hurt. Like obviously there's shitbags in every industry, whether it's taxidermy, law enforcement, military. Like we've seen all of
bad doctor, bad lawyer, bad mechanic.
There's bad actors in every industry. It's just a little bit higher stakes depending on what job it is. But I think it's really exonerated a lot of good cops where it's like, maybe on paper it would have looked or sounded really bad, or it can be spun a different way. But then once that body cam footage pops out, it's like justified.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like, all right, guys, like let's stop arguing about this now.
Yeah.
I think it's a great, honestly, a great thing because you look at the statistics and you're like, okay, yeah, there's X amount of police shootings a year, and then you look at like how many interactions there are between law enforcement and like the civilian population. It's like there's a very low amount of shootings, honestly. And you look at the statistics and you're like, wow, that's a lot of people that are shooting out there. Are they all justified? And then you start seeing the body cam footage. You're like, well, yeah, actually, matter of fact, the vast majority of them are very justified, if not overly justified.
Yeah. Some of them were like, why are you not taking more action?
Yeah.
You had the everything there to use that use of force. Why did you not use it?
Yeah. Why'd you?
You're fully justified. Anybody would be in the same circumstance reasonable to do that. Like, why didn't you take that opportunity to stop the threat from doing anything more? Because there are times, like I might throw out a percentage because I don't know, but it's like it could go one way or the other. They could come in, start complying because you didn't take action, or not comply because you didn't take action. But do you want to take that that chance
Yeah. Why risk it?
Why risk it? Yeah.
Yep.
Again, it's the reasonability of it. It's like that person pointed a gun at you. They pointed a gun at you twice.
Yeah.
They did it a third time. What are you doing?
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, it's there it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. That's another thing that kind of throws me off too is every once in a while I'll revisit videos and watch videos of officers interacting with people, and especially in them high risk situations,
Mm-hmm.
firearms and guns and things like that of that nature, vehicles, involved. Or why didn't you take action? Like, I would believe that I would have taken that, action in that instance. Why didn't you take that? And so a lot of times they become worse.
Oh, yeah.
Shots are fired, from that person, and or whatever it may be. It's like that person's running at you with a knife, and you just so happen to trip, and then you slide to the side, they stand up and come back at you again. It's like,
Yeah.
how many opportunities are you going to give them?
Well, that's the other thing too, is like seeing body cam footage. It's like it kind of throws away the whole idea of like, well, like, could you just shoot him in the leg? Yeah. Could you shoot him in the leg? And then you realize like, oh, this is like happening in like split seconds here.
Yeah. The taser thing is a whole nother. They're like, oh, why didn't you shoot him with a taser?
Then you see how many taser failures there are.
Absolutely,
You're
yeah.
like, fuck.
I've had.
Why'd you shoot that person with a taser? You should have shot him with your gun.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Absolutely, yeah. And a taser can be. I don't know the percentages on that either, but I've experienced myself. I've deployed tasers, and they don't work all the time.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't remember how many times I deployed it, but I can tell you there's a handful of times they did not work.
Yeah. Well, and like you also have to take into consideration like clothing, because I'm sure in the winter in Iowa, I mean, I don't know how fucking deep those prongs can get through when it comes to clothing, but you'd think like a Carhartt coat, is it going through that?
It's maybe, but if you have layers underneath it, it may not. I don't know if it was a quarter or 3/8 of an inch, but the probes, the actual probe portion of it that will stick into you is not very long.
No.
It's not going to go through 3 or 4 layers.
Well, it
thick
can't
layers.
either, because if you're wearing a t-shirt and you don't want to shoot it into the lung.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to just shoot through them.
Yeah.
So it can't have that much penetration.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it basically it's got like, I think it's like a size 8 fish hook, basically a straightened fish hook, and it's about that long, but then it has a blunt, like a cylinder at the back of it. So when it hits that back portion of that cylinder, if you will, it comes to a stop. It doesn't go any deeper.
Right.
So
if you're wearing a bunch of layers of clothing, it's like that's not going through.
No. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're wearing a Carhartt, you're probably wearing a sweatshirt underneath it.
Yeah.
And then you're already an 1/8 of an inch thick of layers, or a quarter of an inch, or 3/8 to a quarter inch of layers. It's probably not going to go through. And then if you have something else, like the instance that I experienced was the guy was wearing a backpack, and so when I had a clear shot at his side to hit, have both prongs hit him, because that's another thing is both points has to hit him. There's 2 points of contact to create that electrical circuit. If both points don't make contact, it don't work. And so when he was running away from me, I went to deploy my taser, and when he turned, the one prong hit his backpack, and so it was completely ineffective. So and I know what this guy was like. He, again, totality of circumstances, the guy was bigger, and I wasn't going to go hands on with him. So and he had warrants, confirmed warrants. So this is the avenue I chose, which I felt was reasonable. Again,
So how'd that end up turning out? Did you have to reload and fucking?
No, actually, it was kind of nice. He made it to the front door of a bar, and when we hit the door didn't open, and I basically plowed into the back of him. We hit the door, and the people inside heard it, and there was 3 guys that came out. And we're like, yeah, we're going to get involved in this, because they saw I was law enforcement and stuff like that. I'm yelling, please get down. And they're like, they jumped on top. Yeah, it was, did all the thing and all that stuff. And it was like, thanks, guys. 3 guys from the bar.
Yeah.
Help me hook this guy up. And
well,
like,
don't drive drunk, but thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate it. Don't drive drunk, guys. Don't do anything stupid.
Right. Yeah. Don't
like
make me come back here.
Like this guy.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, it was one of those things that, again, it could have become now. This wasn't a situation where it was like the use of the taser versus deadly force, both options. It wasn't that case. I'm just, basically stating the case of them tasers don't always work. So if you do get in those situations where deadly force is reasonable and should be, that course of action should be taken, it's like, don't rely on a taser to make it look better.
Right.
There.
You don't take a taser to a gunfight.
No,
that's
you don't.
number one
Absolutely.
rule, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
or a knife fight.
I just made that up.
Or a knife fight.
Why not? Yeah. Well.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty funny. But do you have any other are there any other stories that kind of jump out? I've asked some other cops, and they're kind of like, well, for one, there's still cops that are kind of like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this, but
yeah. I guess I've just hit on some stories. I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. I think it was like a month out of FTO. So you have your field training officer, but your FTO is kind of like your training time. They just refer to it as FTO. But before, right after, a month after I got out of FTO, no high speed pursuits or anything like that. Boom. A month later, I was in a high speed pursuit. So that was pretty cool. OWI arrest. Guy was, severely impaired, and we were, I don't know, I couldn't tell you how, it was probably maybe 2 or 3 miles. He wasn't getting anywhere. It was a bigger truck. I had a SUV that was pretty stable. And it was in the snow too. So that made it a little bit harder, a bit more difficult for both of us, but, he lost control of his truck, went down an embankment and wrecked his truck. He had bought 3 days before, Classic. By the way. So it's pretty,
I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Just add salt to the wound on that one for you. So OWI truck totaled after having it for 3 days. So, you're like, when's this going to happen? It didn't happen in the FTO training time. It's like, boom, 1 month after. So, let's see here.
So so when you just put the cherries on, then you just gunned it?
Yeah, he was traveling at a high rate of speed, and I knew that he was driving way over the speed limit. And you have to confirm that with radar, obviously.
Sure.
And so he was driving away from me, and again, going back to the stuff's tested every day, so this stuff is very accurate as far as the radar goes. I remember the speed. It was 47 miles an hour in a 35. And so I'm like, all right. So I get up behind him, and he was going over a crest, so I didn't see that I turned my lights on right away. But as soon as he saw the lights, he just took off. So again, it was maybe inside of 2 miles that it was. We were going pretty quick. Let's just say that. I won't talk about that anymore, but we were going pretty quick.
Yeah.
So and he didn't get away.
Dude, first of all, trucks in the snow. Especially, not the greatest.
It was honestly a lifted, oversized, tired, Dodge Ram 3500
fucking
diesel.
Terrible.
And he actually, when he hit...
All your weight's in the front.
He ran off the side of the road, and he hit gravel, and he put it up on 2 wheels. So I could see the taillights. They went, they're parallel, and then all of a sudden, they went, at a 45-degree angle. So one's down here, and one goes up like this, and it slams down again. So he actually was at one point up on 2 wheels, and somehow, whether it was in his, abilities. I doubt it. I think he got lucky, but he just happened to turn the steering wheel into it, which is what you're supposed to do. If you're lifting up on 2 tires, and steered into it, which brought him back down on all fours, but then ran him into a really expensive electrical junction box at the bottom, which was even more costly for him. So who knows how much.
That truck probably, I don't know, let's just say $60,000, $70,000 truck, fucking however much that costs, and DUIs aren't cheap either.
No.
Or OWIs.
No.
So.
No. Yeah, the liability.
Well, and also run from the cop. I'm pretty sure that's a felony, isn't it?
What's that?
I don't know. High speed pursuit.
Eluding over. We just looked this up the other day because somebody had a question. Everybody asked me law enforcement questions and stuff like that.
It's been a while. I know.
And but it is. It's. I think it's. If I remember right, it was 25 miles an hour over the speed limit becomes not a felony, but it's a higher. But if it's your second one, it becomes a felony.
Gotcha.
I think it's the second. And again, don't take my accuracy on, but it does. If you do it again, it's like a second offense. It gets higher as you go up.
Listening, this is not law advice.
Yeah,
you're not a cop anymore, so it's
right. Yeah, I'm 8 years removed.
Yeah.
On this, so I'm not up to everything, and I don't know the code like I used to, which was a very strong thing I had. I had a really good memory and understanding of the code
at the time.
At the time,
yeah.
So
but now you're a taxidermist.
You really need to. It's totally opposite. I don't even know. I don't even know where I'm at now. But yeah, it becomes a felony after so there's your second offense.
That doesn't really.
But it is again speed. Also dictates how high of it goes from a serious if under 25 to an aggravated if it's over 25, and then your second offense is a felony.
Gotcha.
Eluding. So
Bad night. That's a
don't
bad
run
night.
from cops.
No, it's dumb. It's really dumb. I have a friend that did once and got away with it, but
Yeah.
it only worked out once that I know of.
You
So,
don't always run the radio and the computers behind the desks and running information off the vehicles and stuff like that, because then we find out who you are and you end up getting a warrant for your arrest, and we caught up to you still. So
yeah, right.
we have the ways,
Yeah. It's a lot. I realized in my later years that it's just a lot easier just to like kind of follow the rules.
Yeah.
And just like
It goes a lot smoother.
it's a lot better just going the speed limit in Cedar Rapids rather than getting a ticket mailed to you because it's that fucking speed camera.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Stupid speed cameras.
yeah. I mean, say what you will about speed cameras. I am not super for them. I think they are at least mild. Like they're probably not. I don't know if there's a constitutionality argument to be made there, but I will say from experience, it does change how you drive. You get enough $200+ speeding tickets from a camera. It's like, man, I'm not made of money. I'm not just going to keep throwing money away to the city of Cedar Rapids. Now, granted, it's not a moving violation if it's a speed camera because there's not an actual cop to give you the ticket. So it's literally just a fine. It doesn't even go on your record, but you have to pay it. Otherwise, it doubles and it doubles and it doubles. So it's like, but I'm not just going to sit here and throw $200, $300, $400 at the city of Cedar Rapids constantly. So it's like they do work. I will say that because I definitely toned down my speed in Cedar Rapids.
I guess. I mean, and the way about it is you do drive a little differently.
Yeah,
there's a corrective thing about it, if you will.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have them if a bunch of people weren't driving like assholes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but yeah. So you were a cop for about 5 years.
5 years. Yep.
So what? I guess is there like an event that happened that made you want to get out?
So it wasn't maybe one event, but one event, I guess you'd say, kind of started the whole, I guess, downward snowball effect, if you will. It was a slow snowball effect. It was, I got hired in 2013, I think it was. And then it was a year later that I was involved in a shooting. My shift team and I all were in a location where an officer-involved shooting happened. And that was kind of like the thing that started it all. Going into a little detail, I guess you'd say this is where, like I said, all the issues started, if you will. I wasn't the one that pulled the trigger, but whether you pull the trigger or not in the environment, it can still have an effect on you. Mm-hmm. I believe that anybody that goes into law enforcement is going to come out affected in some way. And that's like the one thing that started it was we had a situation where, the use of deadly force was justifiable, reasonable, and then justified later. But it still has an impact on you. I won't go into the details of that, but that's kind of the start of it, if you will. And so I thought things were off, I guess you'd say. And I think everybody knows what avenue I'm going down here. Things were off, but there wasn't anything that affected my performance. So
you say things are off, you like mentally,
just
like in the background kind of thing, and
in hindsight,
how you saw things.
Yeah, in hindsight, it was stressful. A fellow officer of mine pulled the trigger, and I saw the whole thing happen. So it has, that stress, all that stuff, surrounding it. This is kind of the thing that happens. When I start talking about it, I start to kind of like go back to it and the memories and stuff like that, and you really draw those memories from that memory bank, and then it pulls me where I lose the ability to stay on conversation or on track of the subject and stuff like that. So I may do that at times when recalling my law enforcement career. So this is the time that I did it. I don't remember your question or where we were going with that.
So like what made you want to get out of being in law enforcement and stuff? So
that was the start of it. That was a really high stress thing. You go through the whole process of an officer involved shooting. You're given your statements and everything like that. The send forward, was it justifiable or not? We obviously got back that the investigating, it was the DCI from their investigators, that it was completely justifiable. or justified. But again, it's still going to have that effect on you. So it was, as far as performance goes, I was doing very well. I was getting great performance reviews and everything like that. Confidence was building. I've always been a confident guy, but like confidence was really, this comes from like, I'm doing a good job, not like, yeah, look at me.
Yeah, right.
You know, I've got this thing figured out. And I didn't, you know, I was still figuring things out, but I was doing well. So again, those things weren't affecting my performance. So I didn't think that it was an issue. Things just felt different, you know, after that situation.
When stuff like that happens, it kind of puts you see it on TV or you see it on the internet and stuff like that. But when you see stuff like that in person, it definitely makes you realize like, oh shit, like this could happen at any moment.
This got real,
kind of thing. Like it gets real fast, and it's not the same. You know, like you can see all the stuff, you can watch all the war movies or all the cop shootings that you can see. You know, you can see them all, but when you experience it firsthand, it's a lot different. Like everything's just different. Like it's just like some things are underwhelming and some things are overwhelming that you didn't expect, and it does affect you a lot differently than you'd like to think that. Oh yeah, I'm trained, prepared for this situation to happen, but then when it happens, you're kind of like, it puts things in perspective that it is real, because everything's just training until it happens. Yeah, and then you're like, okay.
As stressful as it may be, it's not the real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it is. All right.
So, again, I didn't really think much of it. I knew it was high stress. You know, it's like, man, that was wild. And this is kind of like the thing that it's not if, it's when. It's like, it's going to, officer involved shootings are going to happen. It's like, going into this, it was like the story was it's been 22 years since an officer involved shooting happened in Lee County. Yeah. Okay. And I'm on a year. And it happens. It's the first one in 22 years. It's a long time, you know. It's not like stuff's not happening down there. It's just that officers are not pulling the trigger as much as what some people believe. You know, there's use of force that's being used. It's just not, you know, with the firearm. But I don't recall the exact number, but it was between the time I started and the time I left, there was 5 officer-involved shootings in that county.
Should have started popping off out of fucking nowhere, kind of.
Yeah, we had there was a bank robbery. There was one where it was a burglary.
Bank robbery?
Yeah.
I thought that shit was over with back in like 1800s.
Nope. It still happens.
That's nuts.
Still happens, guy.
There's not even that much cash in banks, dude, anymore.
No.
So like, what are we doing?
I did work at a bank for a little while, and there's not that much as what you think. You're not making out with, you know, millions of dollars. It's not. It doesn't work that way.
No, it really doesn't.
So bank robbery. There was it was a deadly force situation, but it wasn't. The other person didn't have a firearm. It was I think it was a hammer of some sort, but he was swinging it in a way, and it was a burglary, and the officer ended up pulling the trigger in that. Let's see here. I don't recall. I think it was like 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6. I believe three of them I was involved in one and responded to 3 or 4 of them. So it was like this thing's kind of coming up more often. Again, I wasn't affected by it as much as I thought. You know that I'm not really being affected by it. Performance is good. I'm pretty calm under stress.
And at the same time, like when you're in it, you're really trying to, you know, make sure you are doing your job and that you aren't affected. So like, you know, what is that? Like Pandora's box, and the box inside of you, you know, it's like you just keep putting shit in there. You know, it's like, hey, I got to do my job, so I got to put this away for now. And, you know,
compartmentalizing.
Hopefully, not let it happen. Not let it come out. Yeah. Because I still need to have my head on the swivel and do the job that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So
and that made me feel even more confident. Is when things happened, I wasn't freezing in the space. Like I was taking some sort of action, you know, to get myself off the X or whatever it is, or bring that person to safety, whatever it may be. So that was, you know, building more and more confidence as time goes on. So wasn't feeling like anything was really happening.
Yeah.
So time goes on. I'm again, performance is going really well. I go to day shift for a little while, which I was on night shift starting off. Everybody's on night shift when they start off, but I had an opportunity to go to days, and I got to do some deep diving investigative stuff. which was fun. Organizing those cases and stuff like that's a lot more involved. So that was really cool to go through that. And I kind of had a focus that I wanted to do some sort of investigation stuff, like everybody's like investigating, cops are investigating, but like more like, what a typical investigator you see, as a label, like I'm doing the murders and the drug stuff and all that stuff. So the level that I wanted to get to is the drug task force. So I was going to go do, the dope stuff, or wanted to anyways. And that's what I really focused on later on. The investigations portion of it, making sure my reports were all nice, done well, done accurate, to eventually go that way. And then I went back to night shift and I was able to do that. I was putting the pressure on those people who, we seen, doing the things they shouldn't be doing with the drugs and stuff like that. So that was a focus, a focus to go down. So I was doing those things. We'll go to some of the things that I also did do. They wanted a defensive tactics instructor. And so I was a defensive tactics instructor certified through ILEA, and then also had another certification. Both are really cool. The one was, I feel like, a little bit more cool because the guy who trained us was a Navy SEAL. Okay. So we did the training. Pretty cool. It was kind of cool. It was pretty cool. And the things that he taught us was really like eye opening. It's like you didn't always have to do things with muscle. You could use people's momentum in their body and the disadvantages of them and stuff like that to work for you. And it was a lot of fun. It was actually, a lot of it made sense and made things a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
Especially
that's the whole thing of jiu-jitsu, is that you're not expending that much energy, and you can be a lot smaller than the other person if you know what you're doing. Then you can, use their aggression to your advantage. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Cause you're all tensed up and stuff like that. Yeah. And that can be used against you
100%.
Being tensed up like that. And I'm not a big guy, but 50% of the guys that I, come in interaction with that I need to go physical with, half of them are bigger than me. So I had to figure out something in a way. Yep. So that was nice and handy to have. And I like instructing and teaching. So that was kind of cool to do. Yeah. Cool. So that was a nice little certification that I had that I thought was pretty cool. Let's see here, 2017. So the situation previously mentioned with the shooting, there was several people involved. The subject who was shot, there was family involved. Their family was there during the situation. I actually came in contact later with that family in a separate call, which is what made everything that happened to me then come out, if you will. So the subject we're talking about is the PTSD and stuff like that guys are experiencing. So the situation, oddly enough, resembled very similar to that situation with the officer-involved shooting.
And this is family from the other guy?
Family involved. And so, again, I won't go into any details about who it is or what it is. I'm not letting out any names or anything like that. But that family was involved in a situation that was eerily similar. Looked like the house was very similar. The situation was very similar. An armed subject in the house, and basically they're not supposed to be there. I'm reasonable to go in and deal with this situation. It's not like I got to have a warrant or anything.
Right.
Same thing with that situation. It was going into a house, hot pursuit situation. So I go in and deal with it, and then again, this feeling of like something's odd, and it was the first time in my law enforcement career that I started to hesitate, and I didn't understand that. I went to my captain afterwards. I'm like, something was odd about that call, and I didn't understand it, and I tried to break it down with him a little bit after it, and he just didn't respond because he didn't recognize anything, and nothing against him. It's not that he would have recognized it, or fellow officers and command staff are given things to look for in your officers that maybe they're experiencing anxiety or PTSD or depression or anything like that, abusing alcohol or anything like that, to recognize those things. And he didn't see anything.
Behaviors are off. Yeah. And stuff, yeah.
And so I don't believe I was given enough to have him, see that something was up. So don't recall, because then it starts getting blurry, because you start getting into the situation, you start not understanding, you start losing track of time, because things are just off. Time goes on, and I start having flashbacks of the original officer involved shooting. I'm like, what is this? I don't understand. Like why is this coming back? I've gone this long without dealing with it. It was just odd that. Why is it now? Well, in hindsight, obviously the situation was so eerily similar in that, future contact of the original incident that it caused a trigger. And so I started triggering with the PTSD and all that. So time goes on. I'm doing relatively okay, but things again are off. And I start talking to my captains and stuff, and they're like, well, maybe you need to go talk to somebody about it. And so I started seeing a counselor. And then the calls started to ramp up again. So like the high stress situations, we had some captains that were also taking vacation because they're getting to the end of their careers. And because of the command staff, there's captains that immediately goes to the senior officer. You're a patrolman, but you're like a senior officer.
Yep.
Well, I'm now the senior officer on my shift. So I'm the one, he's gone, I'm the officer in charge. I'm totally okay with that. But then the high stress, high stakes, rough situations come. And so we're getting into stabbings and stuff like that. And, I will go into this because this was a hard thing for me to deal with. Was I was a senior officer and I had 2 officers underneath me. Again, they had little experience, but that's I'm not dogging them because they just hadn't been on long enough to have that experience.
It's not their fault. Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So they didn't understand what it meant to take action in those situations or how to work through those. And there were times where in these high stress situations that they had to be given directives. So I'm dealing with the high stress situation. Specifically, one thing I'm talking about was a stabbing incident where I'm trying to save this guy's life. He's cut up bad and he's bleeding out, and I turn around and they don't know what to do. Yeah. And so there's that compounded things of like, now I kind of feel alone on the shift. And so you're like, I'm already feeling those things. It's like now you feel alone, Luckily, those guys in that incident, the subject who stabbed this guy, we found him pretty quickly with the deputies. The deputies came in and helped us out. We do help them out out in the county with calls, and they come in to help us out. We're working together with the local sheriff's office on instances and those things. So it was great. Yeah, absolutely. So they were able to come in and find the guy and apprehend him while we were dealing with that situation. And so, like I said, these high stress situations are coming. I'm starting to put together this story in my head. Things are starting to, a negative story in my head about my circumstances and where I'm at, how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking and stuff. And all those things that come, I feel like come with that. Yeah. And so, again, that one incident made me, I feel like I hesitated a little bit, and then the hesitations came, and then the confidence started to dip, and then I started that slide down.
And you can't have that when you're in a job like that. It's like, that's tough when that stuff starts happening. Cause I mean, we made these parallels before between military and stuff like that. My experience in the military, and it's like, I know, I've had friends and stuff like that where it's like, they're doing great and everything's going great. And then there's this, like you said, the compounding effects of all that stuff. And you can only compartmentalize so much in certain situations, and everyone deals with stuff differently. Like some people are everyone handles those situations differently, and it all depends on the situation that you have with the people you're surrounded with, all the totality of events, if you will. I know law enforcement uses those terms a lot. It's like, but I have friends that they're great soldiers. They do great. They're doing great things, and everything's great. And all of a sudden, kind of, it seems like out of the blue, but they're just good at compartmentalizing. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's like, can't do it anymore, kind of thing. And in that situation, it's not a judgment either. It's like, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And when you're in those situations and you're put in those high stress situations, you really got, you got to do the right thing eventually, and either figure it out or.
Yeah. So
it's hard.
It was really hard. Another thing that I was involved in was the TAC team. I was on a TAC team that within the high risk warrants that we had a high risk unit or a TAC team that we had in conjunction with the county, and I was on that team. And so doing that, it was probably the most comfortable I felt in my law enforcement career is when I was stacking up with them boys.
Yeah.
I felt because everybody was trained at a pretty high level. It's like, and we're going to do work and we should come out okay. It's not if it's when, but you still like, we did good work, did good work, fast work. We worked well together. And I felt the most comfortable there. They pulled me from the TAC team immediately. And I get that. Yeah. But that was just a hard blow.
That's a tough one.
So, they pulled me from that immediately, and they're like, well, we need to get you to go to do some counseling and at least try to take some sort of avenues, to just try to figure this out. There was I did take a few medications. They were prescribed to me to help with those things, and in long terms, they had minimal to short term effects.
Well, it's a Band-Aid on a.
It is.
That stuff, like, it's kind of like antidepressants where it's good if you need them, but it's a short term thing. Yeah. You should be seeking while you're taking the medication. I believe it's best to use when it is in the short term and you're taking other avenues to figure it out and figure out your mentality and what's happening inside you, rather than just drowning out the symptoms with pills forever. It's just another box, another compartment, or it's a Band-Aid on a much bigger wound kind of thing.
It should work in conjunction. I feel, and I feel like some of the people that I've talked to, the counselors and stuff, it should work in conjunction to helping you process the situations appropriately, and then mapping out a plan for you as far as like things that you can do to mentally process whether it's in that time or that situation that you went through, or when you're having like an anxiety attack or a panic attack, that you were able to walk through it. There's a power in the mind that will help you also in conjunction with the medication, because again, it's just a Band-Aid, but then you got to mentally figure things out too and process things to the best of your ability. And I don't feel like I was getting that. Not that it was a stab to them, the therapists or counselors that I was seeing, but it was just not the right stuff and not timely enough to help me in my situation. So with that, I was able to stay on patrol while taking these medications, and then you would see my confidence build back, and then my abilities and stuff like that, and then you would see glimpses of my old self. I would see glimpses of my old self too, with my performance. Yep. And so I was like, okay, we're starting to deal with this, but the high stress situations just kept coming. Again, with also my situations of like, I've got 2 officers on shift. That I ended up, when I finished on my career, I was still on that shift. So they were there on my shift till the end. So I always had that in the back of my mind. And then just the time that went on, there was the dips and the rises in my performances. I'm kind of sugarcoating it just a little bit because there was some hard times. It was some really, really hard times on me.
What was like home life and stuff like?
It was brutal.
Yeah,
it was brutal. I'm going to stop sugarcoating it. It was brutal. It was. I didn't want to be around anybody. The distance that I put between people, my wife, my family, was a hard time. The things that were said, the things that, when you're a cop, it's like, well, for me, it's like you don't really have a filter on everybody. Like when you're on shift, you can say certain things or whatever like that. But like, it didn't stop when I went home. I was letting my wife in on what's happened to me at work. Yeah. And it's like, she don't need to hear that.
Right.
Not what I'm seeing and stuff like that. And I just never shut off. I never shut off from the law, being in that environment. And so like the reasonability of like knowing my audience and stuff like that, that all got blown out of the window.
Yeah.
It just, didn't care, I guess. And at times I really didn't care. So that was a very hard thing. The medications kept coming. That was getting harder to deal with because there was not only the negative effects, but the non-effective things, like it wasn't working, to then the side effects of it, the vertigo, the even deeper depression. And then I'm getting even more lost in things. It's like I thought this was supposed to help me, you know, and I thought the people were supposed to help me, and it just kept going down, more down the hole.
That's a tough thing. Like because I was offered medication and all that stuff too. I've always tried to stay away from it just because I'm like, I need to be able to process this kind of myself. That's just my own thing. I'm I'm definitely not like against medication, especially for people that need them and stuff like that. But like you were saying earlier, it's like I feel like you need a different avenue to wean yourself off of them eventually, because it's not. I mean, there are side effects. Yeah, and they're not generally great side effects. Vertigo, deep depression. I'm gonna say it. Sexual issues. Like you're just not able to perform. It is a slew of things, which causes you more depression. Oh my gosh, sucks. Oh my. And there was the mood swings too. Again, I would get angry and stuff like that. So again, this is all hard for my wife to take. Yeah. And so that was really difficult. It spilled over into it was. And I didn't know this then because, again, the things start getting kind of blurry for me as far as memory goes, because I can't tap into my memory bank with those memories, because I'm on these medications while going to work, able to do my job, but the memories are just not as strong. Yeah, they're not as sharp because you're under an influence, and it definitely that's what they're supposed to do is kind of blur the hard lines in your brain a little bit, kind of make things a little bit easier to handle, but at the same time, like it gets foggy. Yeah. I've heard that from people that have been on the medication as well. Like it's just you're just foggy. Yeah. You're just kind of things aren't as sharp. There's another thing to it too, is the denial. Is at one point I was going into a denial state of like, this ain't happening to you. You're weak. Yeah. You are just being weak. Man up, get on with it. Figure it out. You just like, you want to just bulldog it and figure it out. And again, like going back to the denial thing, it's like, this is not even happening. I'm making this thing, making all this up. Yep. This is just, it's like I'm good one day and the next day I'm not having a good. I'm having more bad days than good days. You're just trying to like, I don't know, clarify to yourself or tell yourself something. It's just like, it's just a thing. Yeah. And it's not. And that's a man thing too, trying to, like you said, bulldog through. It's like, it'll go away. It'll just go away eventually, and you just gotta push through it. And fucking deal with it. Well, time. You're told time heals everything, right? Yeah. It's not in that short of time. Yeah, sometimes things happen so fast that it takes a lot of time, and I do believe time. I think the phrase is time heals all wounds, but sometimes the time is years. Not months and days. And you don't have that when you're in a job like that. No. When you're a cop, you don't have years to process. You got to kind of get that shit handled. You get it handled before next shift. Yeah. You got to get it figured out before next shift, because you don't know what you're going to deal with that next day. And like I said, I've responded to car accidents, nearly fatal car accidents, some pretty rough stuff. We had that fentanyl stuff go through Southeast Iowa. Yeah, shit's rough. And we were putting people in body bags left and right, teenagers and people we knew in the community that were, these drugs that were coming in were laced with fentanyl and stuff like that. That's what makes it so nasty. It was awful. It doesn't take much, and they lace everything with it. Yeah, it was in everything. Marijuana, that's the shit. It's not safe anymore either. Yeah, there was cocaine, heroin, all that stuff. We didn't see as much heroin, but it was laced and all that stuff. And people are taking this, thinking this is just the normal stuff. Again, I'm not going to go down the avenue of drug use, but it's like they're taking it and then they're dying from it. Oh yeah, the drug dealer they trusted is, giving them something with fentanyl in it, and they're just it's like a fucking, like the head of a needle will kill you. Yeah, so it's like, it's nothing to play around with. Yeah. So you see again, nearly fatal car accidents, the fentanyl deal, the stabbings that came around. There's a lot of things that happened that I wasn't affected by, and there's various things that like were really high. It's like they didn't affect me, and then some call that was way lower stress, like all of a sudden it's like, why'd that affect me? That don't make any sense either. So
and that, I guess I say you a lot because I try, maybe that's like a coping mechanism for me. Like I try to separate it, make it a you thing or a person thing and not a me thing. It's like, well, me, this is what I was going through and stuff like that. When I say you, I'm kind of, saying me in a way, but just kind of separating myself a little bit. Because again, I go down these avenues where I start thinking about my law enforcement career, the details and stuff like that, and then I'll kind of wander off and forget where I'm going and tracking and stuff like that. That seems to help me talk through some of these things, and whether I'm telling stories or whatever, or trying to recall something. But as time goes on, again, performance dips down to the lowest of lows. I think at this point I'm on for like 8 or 9 months after I triggered. So we're going to therapy, the medications, everything's not working. I'm calling it, I'm sick all the time. I get physically sick too. My stomach's a wreck. I'm always severely fatigued. Don't understand why. I've always been an energetic person, full of energy, wanting to do everything all day long. And it's like, what, like, I'm not doing that. I'm physically sick all the time. I can't stay out of the bathroom. I can't stop throwing up. Like, and I'm calling into work on a regular basis, and I'm clicking off, which should have been an indicator to somebody like something's up, but it wasn't. I don't blame anybody on it, but with that, not recognizing it, but it should have, trips to other guys, at least the ones that I didn't know, or like you have the guy. I had to let my command staff and my chief know that I was dealing with this, but the other officers, because they're dealing with you on a more personal basis. They're going out on calls with you, not the command staff and not the chief. So they don't know what to look for. And again, I don't blame it on them, but I'm experiencing that.
Well, the other thing too is like they have their own stuff to figure out too. So you're just kind of like, they're trying to get ready for shift and everything else. So it's like it's hard to realize that stuff sometimes. So
it's not when you come into shift change. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
You got to call in, who know who's working, get the call logs from the previous shift, find out what's been going on. There's a lot of stuff that happens at shift change. You get briefing and all that stuff. So it's like you may chat for a little bit, but it's like right in a shift briefing, get this stuff taken care of so we can get out on the streets. And so, you're trying to process each scene. So I'm not really totally paying attention to you. I know you're there. I'm wondering, seeing where you're at, but you're not. What are you going through at that time? I guess you'd say. What's your mental thought process on this? Yeah. So
performance is dipping. So you're noticing like you're not going in, like you're calling in and stuff like that. So what are you? Is that kind of when you're realizing like, oh shit,
things are bad. Yeah. Like I'm showing up half the time to work. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm keeping it from some people at work, but not all of them. Some guys I was able to like, kind of talk to a little bit. Eventually down the road, before I left, my shift did know that I was dealing with it, but didn't tell them like all the details. Just say, hey, I'm going through therapy. You see my performance is actually doing pretty well right now. So then there wasn't concern with them, because that's the last thing I want to do is concern them with their safety. I was told by my therapist, checked off by command staff that I had the ability to do my job to the best of their knowledge. But then I'm there. I go out on shift and then I start having these issues. Yeah, we'll just kind of just get to it. Like 8-9 months, I'm dealing with this, and I finally was just like I cave. I didn't know all the avenues, all my options or anything like that. I just know I go into the chief's office. I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I don't know what to do. I was just spinning. You just don't know what to say. And then I wanted to take it back. Like, no, don't give me another chance. It's like, you're trying to grab for something, whatever feels right at that time. Yeah. And it's like, it was clear. All indicators were there. It's like, I needed to leave law enforcement. And so, that's what happened. I had to go in to the chief and tell him I just couldn't do it anymore. We got to do something different. There was options, but I didn't know what it was. I don't think anybody really knew exactly, but I'm glad we took the route that we did. There are options where you can like step back and go on like a leave. It was a year leave where you got the help, and then you can come back and reevaluate and see where you're at. After that year, if you weren't better or up to your, you need to have a certain capability and abilities to go out and do this job. Yeah. At that time, if you didn't, you you had to do something else.
Yep.
So with my amount of service, I was, and also the circumstances, I was medically retired from law enforcement. So that was in 2018 when that all went down. So,
well, I mean, that's better than nothing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You still got something, because it's one of the, I mean, dude, like PTSD and anxiety and all that shit is so hard to process, especially for men. Like I don't talk about it probably like that, like a lot, but it's like, it's really hard to process all that stuff. It's like, I'm just a big dumb fucking mongoloid. Like, I don't fucking know anything, It's like, but like the hardest thing for me, like I'm not like a super smart person, but at the same time, like for some reason, like knowing, like I know myself, but at the same time, like processing and knowing what's going on inside of me, like that's sometimes the most complicated shit ever, because I'm like, I don't really know what is going on. I just know there's something that is different.
Off.
Then, you know what I mean? Like,
something's off.
Like I joined the military when I was 17. So I grew up in the military, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I didn't realize until I got out either a lot of things, like especially like physical stuff. I'm like, everyone's banged up in the Army and everything else. But then I get out of the military and back home, and I'm seeing people my age. I'm like, oh, that's how you're supposed to feel. Like, that's crazy, because like the way I feel, like physically, is very normal for like veterans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My fucking back hurts. Like I exploded my back just the other day, and like it put me down for a few days. Like that's pretty normal for me, but it's not super normal in like regular life, I guess. Like just the amount of that kind of stuff, but also like the PTSD thing. It's like that's a really tough one to acknowledge, because then I don't know, man. Maybe it's self-conscious or what it is, but when I talk to people, like when I go to the VA and talk about it, it's like when you are talking to therapists and they're just like kind of staring at you like, and they're just like writing their thing down.
Yeah.
And then you're in my opinion, like kind of spilling your guts and you're fucking doing all the same. And then you're met with like, this one thing will just make me like, be like turtle up and be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed at you, and the whole world's against me again.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna put this all back in, pretend like this never happened, and I'm never gonna see you again.
Right.
The
box
like,
just shut on you. You ain't getting any more out of me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So you're like, I'll fucking deal with myself, and then you go home and like, now I'm drunk. So it's like not the best thing to self-medicate that way.
Yeah.
Luckily, I do have a very good support system with family and friends and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff helps a lot, and I have other friends that I served with that are a lot better at explaining things, so helping you out and everything else. So that's nice, but that's a very hard thing, especially when you're met with. I'm not speaking for you or your command staff or anything like that, but when you do finally get the courage, because it's hard to talk about that kind of shit when you're a man. You finally get the courage to talk about some of this stuff, and then it's just kind of like met incorrectly. It's kind of like, fuck this. Then I can. You know what? I'll just go do it myself. I'll just finish. I'll just keep going to work.
You're not any more prepared. Well, at least you think it's like I'm not. You're not any more prepared to go through this than I am. So I'm just gonna go figure it out myself.
Yep.
So
and it's usually not the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, then you end up like having mood swings and all this other shit, and fucking shit in your pants or whatever it is. It's like all those physical effects. It all comes from like the mind and stuff too, where it's like the mind is so powerful.
You can physically make yourself sick.
It's crazy.
And I had an iron gut for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it's like again, my fitness came into effect when I was eating on duty. I was still training and stuff like that when I was in law enforcement. You should be, and I was also eating very healthy. But the eating healthy and all that stuff, my stomach was still wrecked. So I didn't understand why my diet's so good and my stomach is so mad all the time. It's like, because your mind can physically make your body sick. Yeah. And that was again another check in the long list of PTSD symptoms is your physical health failing, and then constantly getting sick. Immune system shot. I think that there's like a certain priority list that your body goes through, how it's programmed. It's like sometimes like certain things like immune systems kind of gets put on the back burner to expend energy too. It's like your body has energy. What is it going to allocate it to? And I think sometimes your immune system doesn't get that energy allocated to it, and so it's like it's compromised. You don't have the energy to keep that from getting sick, like being sick.
Yeah.
Having a strong immune system. So your immune system's compromised and you're constantly sick. And that's just what I experienced quite a bit. I was constantly getting colds and I got strep throat like every fall and spring. And again, the gut problems and everything is like, you know.
How's it been being out now though?
So,
like what all did you do so you left law enforcement and you started down this journey, I guess. What have you seen that actually has been helping or whatever else?
So it's, I feel like I have to touch on this because it's you still need to get the certain help afterwards, because after I left, I got worse.
Yeah,
that is the craziest thing, because I didn't have the job to go to. I didn't have the responsibilities. I had the downtime. I didn't have the routine. I had a mess up routine because my sleep was so off. And then you're in your thoughts and stuff like that. And so it's like, there's all those things that can compound, you know, all those things that affects.
Well, and you were young when you got into it, and now you're out, and you're kind of like, what am I going to do? Like this was my long-term plan. Well, now what do I do?
That was about it. But as far as that goes, I didn't have any concern for any future. Like at that point, it was like my life was like over. Like they literally, it was like, that's the stamp of it. I'm not leaving. Like I'm not leaving this state, this state of mind, this experience. This is my world now. So it dipped even lower. I didn't leave my house for a long time. I didn't really get out of my house other than try to do a few of the things that made me feel human, which is the outdoor things that I'm involved in, the hunting, the fishing, and the motocross, that I would get out. But the second I was done with those things, I'd run right back home, and I would want to be in my home and not do anything. And even then, those things were not even like, oh, I guess I'm going to go ride my dirt bike. I really should. It's not like I didn't have the excitement to go. It's I had to drag myself out to go and do those things. And it was like, this is not me.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I dealt with that too when I got home. I'm like trying to fucking do things I enjoy. I'm like, I know I like this.
Yeah.
So I should go do this. And then when you're doing it, you're just kind of like, bleh.
It didn't have the same feeling as before.
No.
It didn't have the same rejuvenating, healing, relaxing effect that it did before.
It did a little bit. Or it's like, it's something where it's like when I got home, I'm just kind of like, I want to go hunt and do these things, because I know I know that's something that I like to do. But then you do it, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck? Like that wasn't quite it. But then eventually, as time goes on, I've noticed it's like it does come back. Obviously, like we're all sitting here and we're happy and everything else. So it comes back eventually. But it's like, what did you like? So you're doing these things, and you're like, I know I enjoy motocross. I know I do these. So you're dragging yourself to go do the things that you know you enjoy, but they're just not quite there. But like, I guess. Was it the persistence of continuing to do that kind of stuff, or? I
think it was. So going back to the therapy portion of it is like you don't have the time of how dynamic it is in law enforcement to, process those things.
Well,
and so
my wife just drove up. I'm just going to tell her to fucking hang on. Okay. She might walk in, but I just text her like, hang on.
Softly.
Hang on, lady.
Quietly.
Fucking chill out for a second here. So, okay.
Where were we at?
Okay, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I saw her in the window. I'm like, I need to fucking, I don't want her to walk in, interrupt, and I just ended up interrupting myself. But, so like, I guess getting out of that mindset, now that you're not a cop and like doing the things you enjoy, but you're not quite having the same like reaction to the things you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, how did you come out of that headspace?
So, okay, now I'm back. Going back to the therapy side, when you're in law enforcement, you're trying to I'm in my situation, I'm trying to figure it out and process it, but things happen so fast, and things are happening so fast to me at work. I don't have time to process the one thing before another thing comes that I have to process that. And it's just a constant overload of things you're trying to process, especially in your compromised state, trying to process those things.
Yeah.
And so, in this instance, post law enforcement, I had the time. Then I didn't have the time to be able to do that healing. And so in this case, it was time, and it took quite a bit of time. I would say it took me another 4 years to really see the light, see the positive things happening in my life and stuff like that. It took a long time. I think it's 4 years, if I'm recalling right.
But that's the thing, is like the first step is to get yourself out of the situation first of all, and get into kind of find the happiness. But it's hard. it's a hole to dig out of.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hole. And I have friends that couldn't make the climb. You know, it's like it sucks, but it's just like, fuck, you gotta try.
Yeah,
you gotta try. You owe it to your family and yourself. You know, to try. You know.
Yeah.
So
you
got to realize your worth outside of that job.
Yeah.
You know?
That's something I didn't have a clear vision of or an idea of, is like, well, that's the thing, is my identity. I like solidified my identity in being a law enforcement officer.
Yep.
Now I'm no longer in law enforcement. It's like, what do I do?
And that's not healthy.
I told the chief, I looked the chief dead in the eye in my interview, and he goes, where do you see yourself long-term? I said, in your spot. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where my mindset was at. I said that to him, and he was like, I like this.
All right, cool.
And that's where my mindset, when I signed on that dotted line, I'm going 30. I'm not going, guys have the opportunity to do 22. If they want to do 22, great, and retire. Like, I'm signing on this dotted line. I'm committed to 30 or I'm dead. Mm-hmm. It's one of those options. And so that was my mindset going in. And again, identity is ripped away. So you have that thing. This is kind of like the one thing kind of shows the difficulty. I had to take medication to get my uniform on. Mm-hmm. That's the level of deep down that I was, at the end. And so you got to climb out of that hole. Like, just the weight of the uniform, you gotta take a medication to just get it on.
Yeah. So
I think it was 4 years.
That's hard. 4
years of time and going through different. I think I saw two different therapists or counselors. I don't even know the exact label. I'm seeing somebody to talk about this stuff and trying to process it. And I started to feel like I wasn't gaining anything. I was getting better, but I wasn't getting over that spot, that real hump. And it was my second counselor that I was seeing who recommended EMDR, and I was supposed to look it up before I got on here, and I didn't do it. So EMDR is like an eye. It deals with the eyes or laterally through your brain to reprogram you. So basically, you experience. Or you try to recall the instance that causes you issues, and then it's either with the eyes. The original way is through the eyes, and stimulating through the eyes to help process. But in my instance, it was through a vibrating paddle that was in both my hands. That's how they laterally put it. So let me look it up here real quick.
Okay.
So that's what I did, was with the little paddles to do that stimulus. So EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So that was suggested to me by my counselor, and I didn't know anything about it. So I looked into it a little bit, and I was like, "Why not? Let's try it."
Yeah, fuck it.
Like I'm not getting over the hump. We got to do something.
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to try, something. As hokey as it may sound, like, what? You're going to do something with my eyes? Because that's initially what I thought it was you're going to do something. So you're going to do like the eye test, the horizontal gaze and stigmas test. Like, if you're drunk and you're going to reprogram me that way, great. You're going to trigger me there from the one guy that, I was investigating an OWI situation. He threw a punch at me, It's like, you're going to make me recall this, trigger me that way. But no, it was
fucking stupid test is all about then. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let's try this. So I go and we start laying out kind of like a briefing, like, this is what you're going to experience. This is what we're going to have to do. And this is what's great, coupled with my medications, a process in which you're going to use. So if you start going one direction, we have a process to kind of escape that road. So if you're going down the road of whether it's right then an anxiety attack or the slide into depression, maybe later on after, this is your plan. Your escape. Yeah. And so we had all that laid out going into it, and then we started getting into the actual, the process.
Okay. And
so again, he's got this little thing in his hands, a little dial where he can turn it up, change the speeds of the vibrations and then the intensities and stuff. And he's doing all that, and I've got the paddles in my hands. And now I've got to recall the hard situations. I got to go back through and process this stuff.
Okay.
And
are you like speaking?
Yeah, you're speaking out loud. So he's well, I say he because the guy I had,
was a he.
He's a he. It's not a she.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I had the guidance the counselor that I had was a female. So I go to him. And so he is having me recall and looking for certain things that he wants to see out of me, that I'm not processing this appropriately. If he wouldn't, he would stop me and make me recall. So I'd have to go back, and through recalling that situation and him doing his thing and me holding these paddles, it was 10 sessions before I started to even do something. So it was like, is this really even working? And then like the 10th session rolled around, and I was like, we're seeing something. So I started responding to it. And then I keep going back. I think this is like 2 weeks. I was going every 2 weeks to do this. And I started to do what he was looking for. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to look into it because I don't want to be thinking about trying not to do it or whatever, like I'm not thinking about it. It's like, oh, am I doing it? And then affect the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care what he was looking for.
You don't want to fuck the whole process.
I don't want. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Like, well, great.
I'm seriously looking for a healing path.
Yeah.
I want to heal from this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to screw this guy's process because that's contradictory to what I'm about. I want to look into things, like going back to G2 and stuff like that. It's like I want to look into things so I know more about it. Because for me, especially in this situation, the more knowledge I had about it, the better I understood it, which gave me the power mentally to process it. So in this case, I had to be contradictory of what I normally was, trying to look into it and understand it. If I did, it would have a negative effect on the process.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking about it possibly. Trust the process and do it.
Yeah.
And so that was the way it was set up, is trust the process and do it. And I don't recall how many times I went, but it took some time. Like I said, it's probably 10 sessions before I started really responding to it. And then after a while, it was probably over the course of 6 months, maybe, or maybe a touch longer. Yeah, I think it was about 6 months, maybe longer, that I started to see, better results from it. He was seeing what he was seeing. I was feeling better. I was able to process things. There was still some lingering things that went on after it, but that was where I got the most healing and the most, ability to cope.
Yeah.
With the stuff, because not only that I'm going through this rewiring, if you will. That's basically what it was. Is my brain was so rerouted and miswired and not running right that we had to bring this all back. And so I was able to, with that and with the things that he was teaching me, and along with the things I was learning from my counselor, because once we started figuring things out there in that in those EMDR sessions, that we were able to take a path with my counselor, and they were working in conjunction together, and we were getting more positive results out of that.
Okay.
And then
interesting.
We got over the hump.
Wow.
Finally.
All right.
So
I've never heard of that before, but that sounds a lot better than drowning in pills.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
I felt like there's a hump. There's somewhere in this. I got to get to it.
Yeah.
And it's never taken me 4 years to get over a hump.
It's a big hump.
Like, come on. Like, when is this going to break? It's like, because then you go back to, it's like, this ain't ever happening. You get all negative and stuff like that. It's like,
it is. Yeah.
I'm stuck in this, and there's no way to claw myself out.
Well, that's where guys end up in that path, in that hole, and they're like, well, it's just the way I am, and it sucks. So I'm just gonna, fucking call her tonight. And I don't know. It's just I just feel like I said before, you owe it to yourself and your family and everyone else to try everything and get through those really hard times and try to make it out on the other side, kind of thing. And because it is, it can seem really dark, and but you just need a glimmer. You just need a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And that'll keep you going. But it's the guys that feel hopeless and that don't, they maybe they get a therapist or something like that fucking sucks, and then there's like, well, fuck this is just the way I am, I guess. And now it just gets too much.
Yeah.
That sucks.
What got me through
sucks.
And what has gotten you through is your support system. What about those guys that didn't have that support system?
Yeah.
Post law enforcement, post military career.
Rough.
Like how do they have hope?
And then they try to self-medicate, and like I'm not gonna lie, like drinking a lot helps for a bit until it kind of stops, and then you have to drink more and more and more, and then you're like, fuck, and then that causes, because I mean alcohol is a depressant, so like then you're in a even more depressive state, and you're just kind of like, fuck, and then it just takes that one night where you're fucking wasted, and you're just like, it's not helping anymore. Now what do I do? Now you're not thinking straight because you're fucking drunk.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
where does that go?
Where does that go?
Yeah.
I think we all know where it goes eventually.
Yep.
And it's nowhere good kind of thing. So it's just like self-medicating with booze is probably not the best thing. And, I did it for years, and it did help for a while until it didn't. And then you're just kind of like, oh, fuck. And and like for me personally, it's just kind of like time does heal everything eventually, but sometimes it takes a while. Yeah. And you just got to figure out how to get through that, I mean? Yeah. And everyone's different kind of thing. That's what, and that's why, like, being a therapist and shit like that, like, I don't envy those guys in their job, because that's tough. Yeah. Yeah, that's really tough. It's a tough job because everyone is so much different, and what worked for one person might not work for the next person. Yeah. And it's very case by case basis.
I'd say the takeaway from this is you gotta find the right therapist, the right medication combinations, and a process to get through it. You got to use your mind and equip your mind to process through it.
Because the medication, because the medication and the antidepressants and all that other stuff, it's like, it's kind of like alcohol, where it's like when it works, it works until it doesn't. And then you're like, oh fuck, now what do I do? Yep, like, it's not working anymore. Like the thing that was helping me is not helping me anymore. Now what do I do? It's like, well, now you got to face the devil and try to fucking do it and actually get through it. Instead of just trying to push off the side in a spot they can't see right now. Eventually, you need to see it. Yeah. Get through it. Yeah. And get through it the right way, and train your mind to overcome that kind of shit. Yeah. Which is hard.
Yeah. That's the thing is sometimes you don't know, and again, your therapist may not be equipped for you. You may be a good therapist, but maybe they don't have the thing that they found works for guys like us or whatever. Sure. Don't be like, go to one counselor and be like, this ain't working. Mm-hmm. They're all like this. They all go to the same schools, or they all function within the same thing. It's like, no, you gotta try a couple. Yeah. The takeaway from it is just, if you're in this situation, take the medications as prescribed, don't abuse them, don't go to alcohol, find a counselor, try a couple counselors, see which one fits, and just try some of these, what you think is hokey, the EMDR or whatever it may be. Try them.
What's the worst that could happen? It doesn't work?
Right. It doesn't work. All right.
Just keep on the next
keep
thing.
Trying.
Yep.
Keep trying.
Go to church. I don't know.
Yeah.
That helps too.
It does.
So, I don't know. But I'm glad you made it through, man.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. And now you're in a
I can
good
smile
spot.
now.
Yeah.
I can smile now. I'm married to my wife, Ashley, who is through it the entire time. We've been through thick and thin with all that, and obviously all the things that life throws at you. And then I got 2 awesome daughters. I got a great support system of family, extended family. And I'm back to doing my hobbies again. Enjoy them.
And actually like
thoroughly. I like them. I guess on the outside of this is back in law enforcement, I didn't have as much time.
That's
now,
true.
because I have a consistent schedule and I have a boss that's pretty understanding that I have these hobbies, because he has the same.
I sure hope he's understanding.
He is.
Son of a
he
bitch.
is. Oh yeah, Sam. He just got back from Africa, and he's that's his time to do those things though too.
It is.
And so he understands it. He knows that I need the time too, and he's very understanding. Let me go do those things. So again, I can sit on this side smiling. It's not all, hunky dory every day. There's still things that bother me. There's still things that I cope with. Yeah, I have my bad days.
It's healthy now,
but I can deal with it. I can process it without. I can say that I haven't taken any medication in probably 3 years, 2 or 3 years. I haven't needed to, and I do. Even though I'm at this point, I probably should still check in with a counselor. My counselors that I've had, to just make sure that everything's still okay and I'm still in a good spot.
Well, it's always better you're in the maintenance phase.
Yeah.
And that'd be good. That's a good place to be rather than the fix it stage. You're driving around a piece of shit beater now you got a pretty decent car. You just need some oil changes every once in a while.
Yeah.
Keep it running.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So yeah, it feels good to be on this side. There's a silver lining to it that I did. Again, I go back to this. I don't know if I said it on here, but I said it before when I got here. This is probably the best job I've ever had, and it's the worst job I've ever had. There was some good times. There's some really good times, really fun times. All the things that I signed up to be in law enforcement, I got to do. The foot pursuits, the vehicle chases, the investigations.
You were cops, man.
The helping people.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. That was an enjoyable time. Made some awesome friends. It's hard to say. I'm glad I went through it for the positive things, but it was definitely a tough thing to go through.
Well, and you're a churchgoer.
Yes.
You believe in God.
Yes.
So it's like one of those things too, where I've always been a believer, and it's one of those things where my mom has always told me, like, at a young age too. She's like, God won't give you. He'll never give you too much, even if you think he did. But he's going to give you a full plate. Yeah. So it's on you, kind of thing. And then you look at back in the Bible and in Scripture and stuff like that too. It's like, there's not a whole lot of like, when it came to Christianity, and especially early Christians, it's like they weren't living like kings. Like they went through some hard stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like the Bible's a lot about dealing with suffering and how to deal with it, and to take it with take it head on. And because iron sharpens iron and all that kind of stuff, all the little sayings and all that kind of stuff. But being a Christian doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna live a stress-free, super nice, easygoing life. Like, that's actually it guarantees you the opposite.
You're not exempt from anything.
You're not exempt from anything, but you have to take it. You have to take the challenges head on, and move on and be better and do better, and hopefully make people around you a little bit better and all that stuff.
I would say that was probably an unhelpful thing for me. Was I wasn't leaning into that. I wasn't leaning into church. I wasn't leaning into prayer. All those things. Yeah. And I can't solely blame it on that, because it was a lot. I mean, that was heavy. I wasn't going to pray my way through it, but if I would have leaned into that a little bit more, I would have came out maybe a lot better. Maybe not have caused as much harm.
Yeah.
Sure. Or I would be able to deal with it, and people wouldn't see as much. I don't know, because I didn't do it, but
it helped me a lot personally. I know I had a lot of I prayed angry a lot. And that did help, kind of thing. Like, I think God can handle it when I'm a little bit cranky, especially frustrated with life and everything else. But I had some very angry conversations of like, oh, woe is me. Looking back on it now, I was like, woe is me, kind of thing, But it's like that kind of stuff does help, and it's like, I've never experienced, like, I never heard God speak to me, but I feel it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where I'm not saying, like, when I'm praying, I'm hearing God speak to me, but afterwards it's like, well, at least he didn't judge me, or at least he didn't at least he didn't say the wrong thing and make me turn away and turtle up and be like, fuck this isn't working. You know what I mean? But I heard him in different ways. Yeah. It might have taken days, weeks, or months, or years.
Yeah.
But eventually I started hearing it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. Now I feel it's working. It's helping, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think of it this way. He says, come as you are. And that's not just physical. That's even emotional.
It's more.
Come as you are.
More of that.
I mean, he's going to accept you. He's going to accept what you're saying. He's going to hear you.
For sure.
So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely.
So
beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you came all the way over here to record with me. We've been going on for 2.5 hours now.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no,
wow.
I'm not kidding you.
My goodness.
It's been a good one, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been great.
That's something that
stuff that I don't talk about a lot, and I'm glad we got to cover it.
Yeah.
Here.
And that's a motivating thing for me to have talked about. I wanted to talk about it at some point in time, because I know that's another thing is my family helped get me through it. Some certain things, like the hobbies, got me through it, but then also it's like, okay, I experienced this. How can I help somebody else? Yeah. And I have my experience, and somebody can take from it, like whatever it may be, is like whether it's the counselor thing or the EMDR as a possibility or anything, like just getting the information of what I did and my experience, and then somebody maybe use it or help somebody else down the road.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. If it can even help one person, that's a success.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's definitely a motivator. I do talk about it a little bit, not as extensive, as we've done here, but more extensive with my, counselors and then sometimes my buddies, but my law enforcement guys and gals. But I kind of sidestep there. You got to talk about it. You got to process those things, and if it helps somebody, just anybody, I'm gonna do it. So
absolutely.
There it is.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Not a problem.
This episode is brought to you by Boat Trader, America's largest boating marketplace. Whether you're buying, selling, or upgrading, the Boat Trader app makes it easy. With the biggest selection of new and used boats from dealers and private sellers. Browse, compare, and even apply for financing. All in one place. Download the Boat Trader app and start your search today.